Chapter 1577. He seemed to know what kind of person Huamin was. Would this smart girl do something so stupid? Or, was she really the one who killed him? Was she telling the truth? It seemed to be a mystery that no one knew the answer to. Qin Chu finally understood Huamin's intentions. His face turned cold. Mian, sorry, suspect, don't speak. Our judge wants a confrontation in court. If Huamin can prove that she's telling the truth, the case will be reconsidered. If Huamin is lying and is only trying to protect Qin Chu, then she will be temporarily detained for interfering with justice, and Qin Chu will still be sentenced. Anyway, no matter what, there would be a verdict today. What do I need to do now? Huamin smiled faintly. Our lawyer will ask you questions, and we will judge based on your answers. The court official looked at Huamin and said word by word. Sure, ask away. Huamin's friends and family looked at the extremely calm Huamin. There was no one who wasn't heartbroken. Now, everyone knew why Huamin personally cooked for everyone that day. It seemed to be their last dinner. Huamin knew that this day would come, so he wanted to gather with everyone one last time. Zhu Lingling's guess was right. She felt that something was wrong with Huamin. Wei Liao was by Jiang Shaowei's side. He was afraid that she would be too sad, so he kept comforting her. Slightly, that day, Huamin talked to you alone. What did he say? Jiang Shaowei could no longer speak. All she could do was cry. She just kept crying, slightly. Don't cry, you're pregnant. It was the first time Wei Liao saw someone as strong as Jiang Shaowei cry. His heart ached. He turned to look at Su Yu and saw that Su Yu was dumbfounded. He couldn't accept it at all, and his eyes were wandering. Huamin's selfish decision was too sudden for Su Yu. He already said that the Su family would help Qin Chu get medical parole, but why didn't they wait? Huamin is so stupid. She's so smart, how could she not know that Lord Su would really help Qin Chu get medical parole? Why did she have to do this? Wei Liao sighed. Jiang Shaowei flung his hand away. What do you know? Huamin isn't stupid, we're the ones who are. We thought things were too perfect. The Su family is powerful, but this is Mayor Song's daughter. If Lord Su could do something about it, he would have done it a long time ago. Do you think it's easy to get medical parole? Plus, Hua Xiqian said that Hua Xiqian's men are in prison. If he really gets medical parole, do you think Qin Chu will be able to leave prison alive? Who can guarantee that Hua Xiqian won't do anything to him? Wei Liao was slightly shocked. They hadn't thought about these questions. It seemed like they thought too little. Huamin was always the smartest person here. She would always be able to analyze the situation clearly. Miss Huamin, please answer our questions carefully. Okay, what was the time of Song Yisher's death? March 27, 2016, 3:05 a.m. What was the cause of death? The cause of death was suffocation. What was the body's condition at the time? The body was soaked in the bathroom. Her limbs were separated, and her body was dismembered, Huamin calmly answered. Can you tell us where the body was last? The direction of the head. And the exact location of the dismembered body parts, the judge asked seriously. This information was top-secret police files. Aside from the murderer himself and the people from the Major Crimes Unit, no one else knew. So, if Huamin could answer, it would be a miracle. If she made a mistake in these details, it would prove that she was lying. Everyone listened nervously, waiting for Huamin's answer. This was a difficult question that even Qin Chu couldn't answer. Chapter 1578. Huamin took a deep breath, glanced around the room, and replied. The body's head was facing up, looking at the ceiling. There was a lot of blood in the bathroom. The limbs were dismembered from the hands and feet. The legs were dismembered from 1/3 of the lower leg, and the arms were dismembered 10 centimeters above the elbow. After Huamin finished speaking, Officer He's expression changed drastically. How did you know? Because I killed him. Huamin was still chuckling, with the innocence of a little girl. This was a top-secret file. Other than Officer He and a few leaders of the provincial police department, no one else had access to it. When Qin Chu was being interrogated, Qin Chu kept insisting that he didn't kill anyone. Indeed, he never mentioned the time or the details of the body. At that time, Officer He thought that Qin Chu just didn't want to confess, so he didn't talk about it. Now, it seemed like Qin Chu really didn't know, but Huamin knew everything. It was unbelievable. Officer He, you know the details of the victim best. Is Ms. Huamin correct? The judge asked solemnly. Absolutely correct, very accurate. He Hongfei really wanted to kneel down in front of Huamin. Officer He replied solemnly in front of everyone. This time, everyone was dumbfounded. Surprisingly, Qin Chu was the only one who was calm. He knew that as long as Huamin wanted to do something, she would definitely do it. She definitely wouldn't talk nonsense and disturb the order here. Since she dared to admit that she killed someone, she was definitely prepared. How is that possible? Gao Ran looked at Huamin dumbfoundedly. Even the director of the Municipal Public Security Bureau didn't have access to such detailed information. Because this case was too special, Mayor Song ordered all information to be sealed, in order to investigate it thoroughly. Now, Huamin could say everything, and it was all correct. This was unbelievable. Could it be that the person was really killed by Huamin? Gao Ran was dumbfounded. Zhu Lingling punched him hard. What nonsense are you talking about? Lingling, you don't understand. Song Yisher's information is all sealed. Even the director of the Municipal Public Security Bureau doesn't have access to it. How could Huamin know so much? It's possible that Huamin hacked into the Municipal Public Security Bureau's security system and read the information. You should know that Huamin is a hacker. Computer is nothing to her, Zhu Lingling. Gao Ran shook his head slightly. The Municipal Public Security Bureau's security system is the same as the Provincial Public Security Bureau system. Also, Song Yisher's file is heavily encrypted. Even if a top hacker sneaks in, we will track them. Even if we can't track them, there will be traces that show that they were here. But there really isn't. If there was even the slightest trace, Officer He would have investigated it long ago. We wouldn't be so passive. Zhu Lingling's speculation was denied by Gao Ran. So, how did Huamin know all this was a mystery? Huamin, what's your motive for killing Song Yisher? Officer He questioned. Because she always clung to Qin Chu. She was like a dogskin plaster. She lived between us. Then, did you know about her affair with Qin Chu? No, they didn't have an affair. Song Yisher deliberately wrote that diary to provoke me. Then in what state did you kill her? She told me that she would haunt us for the rest of her life. As long as she was alive, she would never let us have peace. She also said that she would team up with her current husband, Hua Xichen, to fight against GK. So, you killed her? Officer He asked. I didn't do it on purpose. I was just too angry at the time, Huamin slowly explained. But as far as I know, Qin Chu went to Song Yisher's mansion at 3 in the morning. How did you get there? Officer He's questions hit the nail on the head. Normal people wouldn't be able to answer them. Chapter 1579. Qin Chu left before 3 o'clock. After he left, I killed Song Yisher, so there's not much of a difference in time. That's why you think Qin Chu killed Song Yisher. But I heard that you were also at South Hill Manor on the night of the crime. Why didn't we see any footage of you coming out? Did you see Chin Chu drive out alone? He Fei Hong had done a thorough research on this case, so his questions were all very sharp. Hua Mian, on the other hand, answered every question calmly. Because when Chin Chu left, I hid in the trunk of his car, so he didn't know. The surveillance cameras didn't show it either. Then how did you come back when you came back? If Chin Chu left first, you couldn't have taken his car back, right? According to him, when he came back, you were already at home. There's a difference in time. Officer, he didn't miss any details. When I came back, I didn't take Chin Chu's car. I took a taxi home. I jumped from the high wall behind South Hill Manor because I knew that there was a collapsed area that hadn't been repaired yet. So it was convenient, and I wouldn't be caught by the surveillance cameras. Can you still remember the license plate number of the taxi you took? Officer, it was so late, and I killed someone. I was so scared. How could I remember? Hua Min laughed mockingly. Then why didn't you turn yourself in when Chin Chu was arrested? Because I thought that my husband wouldn't be in trouble if he didn't kill Song Yisher. But now, it seems that you're using him as a scapegoat without concrete evidence. I'm speechless. Ha! Hua Min's words angered Officer He. Madam Hua Min, I hope you'll mind your words. What do you mean by scapegoat? What do you mean we don't have solid evidence? We only sued when we had sufficient evidence. Please don't doubt our ability to handle cases. Hua Min smiled slightly. But as far as I know, my husband can't tell you the exact circumstances of Song Yisher's death, but you still treat him as a murderer. Isn't that a joke? Officer, he was at a loss for words. All the police officers present, including the police lawyer, were speechless. He was stunned by Hua Min's question. Seems like, you really did kill him, of course. It's normal for you to suspect my husband. After all, he was the last person who saw Song Yisher at the time of the crime. That day, when Song Yisher sent my husband a text message, I was very annoyed. My husband didn't let me go, and I felt even more uncomfortable, so I secretly followed him. In the end, you know what happened. But compared to Song Yisher's body, you're not as tall as her, and you're not as heavy as her. How did you kill her on your own? Officer, don't underestimate my strength. I'm a doctor, and I've done countless surgeries. This is a piece of cake for me. Hua Min continued to smile. Then what did you use to suffocate the victim? Officer, he asked the last question. It was also the most important question. They knew about the murder weapon, but other people didn't, not even Chin Chu. However, Hua Min also said that Song Yisher died of suffocation. That was right. As for what he used to suffocate Song Yisher, that was another key point. 5 seconds of silence. Hua Min slowly said, the murder weapon was a bedsheet. I used a bedsheet to suffocate her. Officer He's eyes widened as he looked at Hua Min, then, he pointed his finger at Hua Min and said, she's the murderer. Because of the bedsheet, he never announced it to the public. However, when the police investigated the evidence, it was confirmed. Song Yisher died of suffocation, and then her body was dismembered. Impossible, how could Hua Min be the murderer? Don't forget that Song Yisher's body was dismembered. She's a girl, and she doesn't even dare to kill a rabbit. How could she have done it? So you couldn't hold it in anymore. He stood up and yelled at Officer He. Chapter 1580. Officer He turned around and glanced at Su Yu. Then, she looked around and said, you guys seem to have forgotten that Miss Hua Min is an excellent doctor. As far as I know, her medical skills are superb. A few months ago, she passed an exam and got her doctor's license. One of the exams was to dissect a corpse. She took the shortest time in history, but her technique was the most perfect. After Officer He finished speaking, everyone was shocked. Impossible, no way, it's not her, it's not her. Su lost control and was about to rush down. Lord Su, calm down, this is the courthouse. Tang Chuan pulled Su back, his heart aching. She was so afraid that he would do something irrational. Hua Min still had a faint smile on her face. This woman is insane. How could she do this to my daughter? I want her dead. Mayor Song gritted his teeth and said each word. Hua Xiqian, on the other hand, was silent. Hua Min didn't kill her, because he did it himself. Such a perfect dismemberment was like a perfect piece of art. He thought that Qin Chu was doomed this time. At most, Hua Mian would think of a way to get out of prison and get Qin Chu out of the country. For this, he had thought of many countermeasures. If they were going to get out of prison, Hua Xiqian would have sent people to do it before their application was approved. If they were going to break out of prison, he would have blown up the prison van before Hua Min broke out of prison. Unfortunately, Hua Min didn't do that. She chose the most impossible option. It was like playing chess and eating your own pieces. It was such a terrible idea. However, Hua Xiqian couldn't do anything about it. Damn girl, how dare you do this to me, you're so cruel. Hua Xiqian was furious. A few days ago, when Hua Min had a meal with him alone, he had said that he wanted to compete with him in terms of ruthlessness. At that time, he even laughed and said that he wanted to compete with him in terms of ruthlessness. Hee, that kind of mocking expression. But now, he couldn't laugh no matter what, because Hua Min was indeed more ruthless than him. She was willing to sacrifice herself for Qin Chu's safety. But that wasn't the main point. The main question was, how did Hua Min know about the police's top secret? He remembered those details even more clearly than Hua Xiqian, the murderer himself. This was simply abnormal. He almost suspected that Hua Min had X-ray vision. Did it have a special function? What was the truth? Hua Min, right? Of course not. She was just an ordinary person. She didn't have any special abilities, nor did she know anything about the 8 trigrams. She just had a slightly higher IQ than most people. She liked to do things flawlessly. Your Honor, I've finished asking my questions. I can say with certainty that Hua Min is indeed the murderer because all the questions she answered were correct. Moreover, the information is highly confidential and has never been released to the public. Then, I now officially announce the arrest of the suspect, Hua Min, the judge announced. Your Honor, please wait a moment. Do you have anything else to say? The judge looked coldly at Hua Min. Before you arrest me, please let my husband go first. He's innocent, but you've already locked him up for so long. You can't continue to treat him unjustly, right? The judge was a little embarrassed. Then, he looked at Officer He and said, I announce that the suspect, Qin Chu, has been cleared of murder charges and will be released in court. Hearing that Qin Chu was released in court, Hua Min finally breathed a sigh of relief. Then, 2 police officers arrested Hua Min and handcuffed him. Qin Chu, on the other hand, removed the handcuffs and was released in court. When the couple walked past each other, Qin Chu looked at Hua Min with teary eyes and asked hoarsely, Mian, do you know that murder is a capital offense? I do. Then why did you do it? Qin Chu felt terrible. He held back his tears and looked at Hua Min's handsome face. Chapter 1581. Hua Min smiled slightly and then said in a very soft voice, I only have 2 most important wishes in my life. My previous wish was to be an excellent doctor, and now it has come true. My next wish is to protect Mr. Qin. I will work hard for this for the rest of my life. Honey, you've done so much for me and protected me for so long. You must be tired. Now, it's my turn to protect you, okay? After speaking, Huamin smiled sweetly. Her eyes turned into crescents and she looked extremely cute. Qin Chu, who had always been cold and arrogant, burst into tears at that moment. He couldn't control himself. No matter how many people were watching, tears poured out of his eyes like floodwaters. His heart was in turmoil. Don't cry. I don't want you to cry. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Those were the last words Huamin said. Then, Huamin silently lowered her head and was escorted away by the police. Suyu lost control on the stage and almost rushed off the stage several times. She screamed Huamin's name. Huamin. Come back here, you big liar. I hate you, I hate you. Suyu couldn't accept the fact that Huamin pleaded guilty. Suyu believed that no matter how difficult the case was, Huamin would convince his grandfather to release Qin Chu. It was only a matter of time. But why didn't Huamin wait? Lord Su. Calm down. Tang Chuan hugged Suyu tightly from behind. Let go of me. Suyu roared. Lord Su. We have to think about this carefully. Don't be rash. No, Huamin can't be detained. I can't accept this. You have to let her go. Suyu's eyes were red. He had lost his mind at that moment. Suyu grew up in a military compound and heard too much about the dark side of the prison. So, he couldn't tolerate a girl like Huamin being locked up in a dark cell like that. It looked like she was going to cause a scene in court. In the end, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan worked together to drag Suyu out of the courtroom, and ended this madness. Zhu Lingling and Jiang Xiaowei walked out of the courtroom in tears. Wei Liao comforted Xiaowei and helped her get into the RV. On the other hand, Zhu Lingling's makeup was smudged from crying. She no longer cared about her image as a beauty. If it wasn't for Gao Ran, she would have run over to Hua's, of course. Hua's. Hua. Huamian. Hua's. Huamian. Hua. Huamian's. When Gao Ran walked past him, he asked hatefully, "Are you happy now?" Hua Xiqian only smiled faintly and didn't answer. After Hua Xiqian and Mayor Song walked out, Mayor Song said with a serious face, "Now that we've confirmed it, let's hurry up and give her the death penalty. I don't think we should drag this out or waste time on the investigation. It's best if she turns herself in. The judge wants to use lethal injection because the suspect is a woman. But my daughter died so tragically and she paid with her life so comfortably. How can I accept that? My suggestion is, 3 bullets, what do you think?" Hua Xiqian smiled. "Okay, as long as you're happy." Mayor Song stared quietly at Hua Xiqian for 5 seconds as if he was trying to find something in his eyes. But in the end, he didn't find anything. Hua Xiqian's face was as calm as the water in Mount Changbai. You would never be able to guess what was on his mind. Qin Chu walked out of the courtroom with the Qin family. "Brother, why did my sister-in-law?" Qin Chu followed behind Qin Chu. Halfway through her sentence, Qin Ning noticed that something was wrong with Qin Chu's expression. Qin Chu's second uncle glanced at his daughter. "Ning Ning, your brother is tired. We can talk when we get back." Chapter 1582. Qin Chu's uncle drove a black Bentley Continental. After the 4 of them got into the car, Qin Chu's mother leaned on her son's shoulder and wept softly. "Son. Mian. Mom, how's my dad?" Qin Chu asked faintly. "Your dad's out of the danger zone. He's doing fine, but the technology here isn't mature enough. Your uncle and I are planning to take your dad to Hawaii for treatment." "Okay, Chu. Mian. Mom. I'm a little tired, I'm going to sleep." After Qin Chu finished speaking, he closed his eyes and leaned against the back seat of the car. He didn't want to talk about Huamin at all, no one knew how Qin Chu felt right now. There was a saying, if a needle doesn't stick in your body, you'll never feel real pain. Not to mention empathizing with him. Inside the detention center, warden, where should we put the new prisoner? Put him in A109, the higher-ups told us to put him in solitary confinement. The female warden glanced at Huamin and said. Huamin didn't say anything and followed the female warden into the detention center. Taking the blame for Qin Chu was her final plan, and it was also the best way to resist Hua Xiqian. Su Yu's plan wasn't impossible, but Hua Xiqian had a lot of eyes and ears. If something happened to Qin Chu before he could be released for medical treatment, she would regret it to death. Rick's jailbreak wasn't impossible, but Huamin felt that with Hua Xiqian around, the jailbreak wouldn't go so smoothly. Anyways, Hua Xiqian wanted Qin Chu dead. As long as she could think of a way to get Qin Chu out of here, she would be fine. Because Hua Xiqian wouldn't let her die, she was confident. At this thought, Huamin smiled. Ever since Qin Chu's accident, she hadn't felt so relaxed in a long time. Although he was in prison now, he was still in a good mood. Finally, she managed to save Mr. Qin. Inside a high-end private club, Tang Chuan and Wei Liao held down Su Yu to prevent him from acting recklessly. How long are you two going to stare at me? Su Yu raised his head coldly. Lord Su, you have to stay calm at a time like this. We all know how much you love Huamin, and we won't stop you from saving her. But things aren't that simple. You have to know that Huamin is guilty of murder. She's the one who dismembered Song Yisher's body. Mayor Song won't let her off the hook so easily. Tang Chuan tried his best to persuade him. His saliva splattered everywhere. He was afraid that Su Yu would be impulsive. That's why I have to save her quickly. Otherwise, she'll be in danger. Su Yu was anxious. Even so, you can't cause a scene in court. Not only will it be useless, you won't be able to save her. If someone deliberately uses this to create hype, it'll affect you negatively. Wei Liao said. Fuck the hype. Fuck the hype. I don't have the time to care about that. Indeed, when Su Yu went all out, he didn't care about anything else. For Huamin, he was willing to do anything, and he dared to do anything. But Lord Su, I'm going to say something that you don't like. Her husband didn't even say anything. Who do you think you are? Tang Chuan asked. Although he was straightforward, he was right. Upon hearing this, Su Yu fell silent. Huamin is willing to take the blame to save her husband. But you're just an outsider. If you overreact at this time, Qin Chu will lose face. What will the media write? What will they say about Huamin? You don't care about your own reputation, but you can't ignore Huamin, right? She's already a murderer. Don't tell me you want her to be accused of being fickle, willing to have an affair, and even having an affair. This was the first time Tang Chuan had spoken so harshly. However, this dose of medicine seemed to have some effect on Su Yu. He immediately wilted. Indeed, Tang Chuan was right. He could ignore himself, but he couldn't ignore Huamin. I can't let Huamin die. I can't let anything happen to her. I'll go crazy. Do you know that? Su Yu raised his head, his eyes glistening with tears. For the first time, Tang Chuan and Wei Liao realized that Su Yu, who was trained by the military, had such a weak side. Chapter 1583. Lord Su, we won't let anything happen to Huamin. Don't worry, now is not the time to be impulsive. If we don't act impulsively, Huamin is going to die. Didn't you see the judge detain Huamin? If Song Qingguo wants Huamin to die in prison, it'll be as easy as crushing an ant. There won't be a second trial this time. Su Yu yelled at Tang Chuan and Wei Liao. Tang Chuan and Wei Liao looked at each other and fell silent. Lord Su, Xiao Wei probably knows what's going on. How about this, you come home with me first and we'll ask her. The other day at our gathering, Huamin and Xiao Wei talked a lot. I'm sure he told her everything. Plus, with Huamin's IQ, I don't think he's the kind of person who would intentionally throw his life away. Let's see what Xiao Wei has to say first. If there's really no other way and Huamin is in danger, we'll blow up the prison to help you save him. Yeah, Lord Su, you go to Wei Liao's house first. We'll listen to what Xiao Wei has to say first, Tang Chuan said. Upon hearing this, Su Yu's anger finally subsided a little. He stood up and followed Wei Liao and Tang Chuan to Su Yu's house. After Hua Xiqian and Mayor Song parted ways at the courthouse, they returned to the Hua Corporation to deal with some business and then got off work early. An entertainment city under the Hua Corporation was filled with a foul atmosphere. This was where Hua Xiqian laundered his money. It was different from the Rick families. The Rick family also had an underground money house, but it was only targeted at high-end rich people. Hua Xiqian, on the other hand, took in people from all walks of life. Therefore, there were a lot of people there. Usually, a local tyrant named Fu was in charge of managing the place. Fu was terrified of Hua Xiqian. Seeing Hua Xiqian was like seeing his ancestor. Boss, are you here? Hua Xiqian took off his orange blazer and threw it into his arms. Then, he picked up a lot of chips and walked to a table in the middle. Throwing them all in one spot, after the dealer revealed the cards, he only said one sentence, the dealer wins. Then, he took away all of Hua Xiqian's chips. He was really unlucky today. His heart felt as if it was blocked by something, and he felt extremely uncomfortable. At this moment, a man at another table was glowing. Ha, I won again. The man shouted and raised his cards. 3 aces. Many customers followed suit and praised him. Hua Xiqian walked over and glanced at him. Suddenly, he lifted the man's arm. Then, he took out a few cards from his sleeve. They were all aces. Very good, you cheated. Hua Xiqian smiled. Boss. I was wrong, I won't do it again. Seeing that he had failed, the man immediately knelt down and begged for mercy. A few big men behind Hua Xiqian dragged the man out. Boss, are we still going to cut off an arm like usual? Fu walked over and carefully asked Hua Xiqian, I'm not in a good mood today, what should I do? Then cut off 2 arms. Fu understood what his boss meant. Hua Xiqian didn't say anything. Instead, he took out a lighter and played with it. Both arms and legs. Fu asked again. Hua Xiqian raised his head and coldly glanced at Fu. You're too bloody, it's cruel for us to do this, we can just feed them to the fish. It's also environmentally friendly. Yes, I'll do it right away. Then, Fu immediately turned around and ordered, tie them up with a big rock and throw them into the sea. Then, he didn't forget to remind everyone, the big boss is in a bad mood today, you guys be smart. Hua Xiqian listlessly looked at the ledger in the secret room of the underground casino. His mind was filled with the scenes from today's court. Hua Xiqian didn't expect Huamin to do what she did. Qin Chu, Su Yu, and Hua Xiqian were all heartbroken when they saw Huamin go to jail. It was simply a game of torture, you little brat. I'm so heartbroken, what should I do with you? Hua Xiqian gently muttered to himself. Midnight, in a secret office in the prison, a prison guard made a phone call. What's up? Mayor. I need to report something to you. During today's physical examination, we found that the female prisoner, Huamin, is a month pregnant. What should we do now? The prison guard reported in a low voice. When Mayor Song heard this, his face immediately darkened. Chapter 1584. Don't tell anyone about this. Don't let anyone know about this. Then, find a chance to get rid of the child. Mayor Song instructed in a low voice. Yes. I understand, the prison guard answered carefully and quietly hung up the phone. Mayor Song had been in politics his entire life, so he was very cautious. When Chin Chu was in prison, he contacted his own spies. This prison guard also wanted to do something for the mayor and earn some merit so that he could have a meteoric rise. To put it bluntly, they were just using each other to get what they needed. If Hua Min's pregnancy was announced, she wouldn't be released immediately, but she definitely wouldn't be sentenced to death. If her sentence was suspended, she would have to stay in the prison's designated hospital to protect the baby. Plus, if she really gave birth to the child, her death sentence might become a suspended death sentence, then a suspended death sentence would become a life sentence, and then a life sentence would become a prison sentence. If that happened, Song Yisher's death would be impossible to avenge. Mayor Song lost his daughter, so he was extremely depressed. He had always wanted to find someone to pay for his daughter's death. He didn't care who the murderer was, but the murderer had to pay for his daughter's death. So, when he heard that Hua Min was pregnant, he immediately blocked the news, and then found a chance to get rid of the child. After giving his orders, Mayor Song let out a long sigh. Sure, rest in peace. Dad will avenge you. Mayor Song, who was over 50 years old, suddenly had a head of white hair. His daughter was dead, his wife was seriously ill. His family of 3 was broken up just like that. He even thought about retiring and emigrating with his entire family. When his daughter had grandchildren in the future, he would even take care of them. But, he couldn't do anything. Song Yisher's death was a huge blow to the Song family. It wasn't just because she was dead. It was mainly because her death was so tragic that her family couldn't accept it. In ancient times, there was a tragic phrase called dying without a complete corpse. The general idea was that if a person died without a complete corpse, they could go to hell after death. Or because their corpse wasn't complete, they couldn't reincarnate. This was a form of blasphemy against the corpse. The reason why Mayor Song didn't care about his identity and secretly did something was because he wanted to avenge his daughter's death. The news of Hua Min's imprisonment shook the entire city. Everyone was in disbelief. How could such a weak girl be the culprit of the 327 massacre? This. Isn't this too melodramatic? Lin Mingyu walked out of the shower and happened to see the report on TV. According to our latest news, the real culprit of the 327 massacre has turned herself in. She is Ms. Hua Min, the ex-wife of GK's president, Chin Chu. According to the court staff, she admitted to the crime scene and the details of the murder. The police verified the details and confirmed that there was no mistake. Mr. Chin Chu was later released, and Ms. Hua Min was officially arrested. According to an insider, there won't be a second trial this time. Once the court decides, the death penalty will be carried out in the near future. This incident has once again shocked the public. Let's interview a few citizens on the streets and see their reactions to this incident. Reporter: hello, do you know about 327's case? Citizen: Mr. Zhang, I know. I've been paying attention. Reporter: how did you feel when you found out the real culprit? Citizen: Mr. Zhang, to be honest, I couldn't believe it. Dr. Hua has a good reputation. My family went to her emergency room at Southside before. She's a very good doctor. I really didn't expect her to be a murderer. Lin Mingyu was dumbfounded at this point. What was going on? Hua Min came to him a few days ago to see if he could find any clues to help Chin Chu. But how did she become the murderer? Chapter 1585. Lin Mingyu immediately picked up his phone and made a call to a colleague he knew at the city bureau. After talking for more than 10 minutes, he finally understood the situation. After hanging up, Lin Mingyu still couldn't believe that all of this was real. He still felt like something was wrong. If Huamin was the murderer, why would she come looking for him and look for clues? Huamin didn't look like a murderer. But if she wasn't the murderer, why would she know so many details? In short, Lin Mingyu didn't sleep well the entire night. He actually admired Huamin from the bottom of his heart. When his cousin first introduced them to each other, he already had his eyes on Huamin. However, because of his pride, he always felt that he was superior as a forensic doctor, so he pretended to be one. In the end, he was instantly killed by Huamin. Originally, he wanted to pursue Huamin, but he gave up when he found out that Huamin already had a lover. That was until a few days ago, when Huamin announced that their marriage was over. His hopes seemed to have been reignited. However, when he saw Huamin again, he seemed to understand that Huamin had already shown off her abilities. Whether she was single or not, she had nothing to do with him anymore. Even someone like Su Yu couldn't get a woman like her. Where did he get the confidence to believe that he was better than Su Yu, who was as rich as a country? However, Lin Mingyu still had a sliver of hope for Huamin. He seemed to treat her as a dream that would never come true in this lifetime. Huamin isn't the murderer. She probably just wanted to save the person she loves. This was Lin Mingyu's evaluation of Huamin, which was also his evaluation of this incident. When Hua Xiqian returned to the mansion that night, it was already very late. Mo Shui was waiting on the sofa in the living room, smoking in the dark. Why are you here? Hua Xiqian coldly glanced at Mo Shui's face. I've been waiting for you for a long time. How did you get the key to this place? Hua Xiqian cared a lot about the Hua family mansion. Although there were many unpleasant childhood memories here, there were also good ones, so he was reluctant to move away. This was the place where he had first met the childhood Huamin. Picking the lock is a piece of cake for me. Mo Shui stood up, put out her cigarette, and slowly walked over. I heard that. Huamin is a murderer. Mo Shui smiled as she spoke. Her slender fingers caressed Hua Xiqian's chest seductively. Don't mess with me. Hua Xiqian's voice was frighteningly cold. However, he was in a bad mood today. Many people had already suffered. Don't be like this. Maybe you'll only be free after she dies. You can't let a woman lead you by the nose for the rest of your life, right? Hua Xiqian grabbed Mo Shui's hand and flung it away. Don't mention her to me. You don't deserve to. Hua Xiqian. Don't forget that we're accomplices. Mo Shui was a little annoyed. What accomplices? Hua Xiqian looked at her quietly. On the night of the crime, although we were together and we drank, I know that you did something to my wine. I'm a light sleeper, so I'll wake up if there's any noise. However, I slept very deeply that night, and when I woke up in the morning, it was already 8 a.m. That's something that has never happened to me in the past 5 years, so I'm certain that you put sleeping pills in my wine. After I fell asleep, you must have left to do something. Then, you came back and made me think that you were there the whole time. You can fool others, but you can't fool me. You might have fooled the police, but I won't. Don't act like a savior to me. I'm not your dog that you can order around. Who does Huamin think she is? What do you mean I don't deserve to? I don't think she deserves to stand next to me. I'm a superstar, and I've been living a glorious life. On the other hand, she's just an illegitimate daughter who shamelessly seduced a rich man. As soon as Mo Shui finished speaking, a cracking sound was heard. The crisp sound of bones breaking could be heard. Chapter 1586. At that moment, Mo Shui was speechless. Her jaw was dislocated by Hua Xiqian's grip. the heart-wrenching pain spread throughout her body. I'm warning you about two things. First, I was with you the night of the crime and didn't leave the apartment, so I don't know what you're talking about. Second, don't ever compare yourself to Huamin. Mo Shuai blinked and tears fell from her eyes, but she couldn't say anything. Get out, before I kill you. After speaking, Hua Xiqian walked around Mo Shuai and headed to his bedroom on the second floor. His entire aura was oppressive. It was obvious that he was in a bad mood. Mo Shuai held her chin with both hands and quickly left the Hua mansion. She was the type of person who wouldn't die unless she dug her own grave. She always thought that she was loyal to Hua Xiqian and that she loved him deeply. She also thought that she was smart enough to play him like a fiddle. Who wouldn't know? Huamin came to her before and threatened her with her brother's criminal record, but she didn't give in. Later, she thought that Huamin would definitely send her brother to prison. However, she didn't. Her brother was fine, and Huamin never came to her again. She really didn't know what that woman Huamin was thinking. Why was she so strange and unpredictable? However, everyone was captivated by her. After Qin Chu was released from prison, he went to the hospital with his family. Qin Yuman hadn't woken up yet, but he was no longer in critical condition. Who did Dad's surgery? Qin Chu asked quietly. Dr. Liu was the chief surgeon, and Mian assisted. I knew it. Qin Chu didn't think it was luck that his father was fine after such a complicated surgery. He originally planned to do it himself, but he didn't have the chance because something happened. When he was in prison, he thought that Huamin would do it herself. It seemed like he was right. Big brother, your wife's medical skills are amazing. If she were to continue her studies in the States, she would definitely win an award, Qin Ning complimented. Now is not the time to say such things, Mom, Qin Ning's father scolded. You go out first, I have something to say to your brother. Oh, okay. After that, Qin Chu's uncle called Qin Chu aside. Chu, do you know about the hostile takeover of the company this time? Yes. I don't think it's safe in China right now. Why don't you move the company to the States? Your dad's illness can be treated there too. Let's go together. What about Mian? Qin Chu raised his head and glanced at his uncle's face. We can bribe the people in prison to get her out on medical parole. Uncle, it's not as simple as you think. I'm afraid Mayor Song and Hua Xiqian have already thought of what we're doing. Too many people are involved in this and the situation is completely out of control. Accidents can happen at any second. I won't leave, I have to save Mian. Then, Qin Chu turned around and left. Hey, Chu. Qin Chu's uncle thought the situation was simple and thought that money could buy everything. But if it was that simple, why would Huamin put himself in danger? When Qin Chu walked out of the hospital and got into his car, he received a call from Jiang Xiaowei. Hello. Qin Chu, I'm Jiang Xiaowei. Where are you right now? The hospital. Let's meet. Huamin wants me to tell you something, Jiang Xiaowei said with a heavy heart. Chapter 1587. Qin Chu and Jiang Xiaowei were meeting at Seductive Fox. At a time like this, Rick's place was the safest place to be. Jiang Xiaowei walked into the designated private room, where Qin Chu was sitting. He was wearing a black slim-fit suit and looked haggard. His eyes were filled with melancholy. The waiter closed the door for them. Jiang Xiaowei took a deep breath and spoke first. Mian, she talked to me alone at a party a few days ago. What did she say? Qin Chu asked in a low voice. She said, she's been thinking about it for a long time, and this is the best way. The best way is to kill herself in exchange for me. Qin Chu raised his eyebrows, unhappy with his wife's decision. He was furious, but at the same time, his heart ached. She didn't have a choice. Mion's plan was more perfect than any of us. Qin Chu took out a cigarette and was about to light it when he remembered that Jiang Xiaowei was pregnant. He held the cigarette in his hand and didn't light it. How did she know so many details? Qin Chu was surprised as well. Where did Huamin learn so many details about the murder? It was almost as if she knew the truth. She talked to Lin Mingyu alone a few days ago. Lin Mingyu. Qin Chu looked up and frowned slightly, as if he didn't know of this person's existence. Jiang Xiaowei explained, he used to be Mion's blind date. The head nurse at the first hospital introduced him to her. He's a forensic doctor and was specially hired by the city bureau. Like me, he works in the public security system. Mion bribed him? Qin Chu asked. Jiang Xiaowei shook her head. Mion isn't that careless. All of us in the public security system are very cautious. We don't take money for nothing. Responsibility is important. This time, the situation is very serious. Even if Lin Mingyu ate a leopard's guts, he wouldn't dare to do something like that. Qin Chu didn't say anything and listened in silence. Jiang Xiaowei hesitated for a moment and then said, she found an excuse to borrow Lin Mingyu's phone and planted a virus in it. Lin Mingyu's phone and computer share data. Although there were a few password locks, Mion was able to unlock them all. The advantage of doing this is that she wouldn't leave any traces behind and arouse suspicion. If she had directly hacked into the public security system, people would have been able to find traces of her. This is how smart she is. In the end, Jiang Xiaowei smiled bitterly. I didn't know that my Mion was a master hacker. She didn't tell you that when she was in the 5th grade, she thought it was fun and hacked into Sea City's power supply headquarters out of curiosity. She turned the entire city into darkness in an instant. Qin Chu smiled as he recalled the past. It was as if that playful and intelligent girl was right in front of his eyes. No wonder people say that Mion is a genius. I used to think that she was only good at medicine. I didn't think, what else did she say? Qin Chu knew that Huamin must have told him something very important. Mion said that you guys should leave first. It's not safe here. Hua Xiqian won't stop plotting against you. She wants you to take your parents, uncle, and sister and evacuate. She'll transfer all of the company's funds to your Swiss bank account. You'll only be left with an empty shell. Once she finds a way out, she'll go to the States to find you guys. When will she come out? Qin Chu asked calmly. Chapter 1588. She didn't say anything. She just said that you don't have to worry about her safety and that she'll be fine. But you, on the other hand, are in danger every day you stay here. Isn't she in danger? She's about to face the death penalty. Qin Chu's expression darkened. What was Huamian thinking? She didn't say anything, so how could he leave? She said, she'll be fine. Hua Xiqian won't let anything happen to her. Jiang Xiaowei repeated Huamin's words. Indeed, everyone knew how much Hua Xiqian cared about Huamin. Hua Xiqian wouldn't just stand by and watch Huamin die, but don't forget. Hua Xiqian isn't a god. Mayor Song is involved as well. He's been in office for many years and has a lot of connections. There are all kinds of people in the prison. Maybe before Hua Xiqian makes a move, something will happen to Huamian. I can't take that risk. I can't place Huamian's safety in Hua Xiqian's hands. Then what do you plan to do? I'll kill Hua Xiqian and bomb the prison at all costs. Even if it means destroying the world, I'll save my Mian. After speaking, Qin Chu stood up and left. Qin Chu. Jiang Xiaowei wanted to say something, but Qin Chu didn't give her a chance to speak. Huamin wanted Jiang Xiaowei to persuade Qin Chu to leave first. But why would Qin Chu leave? Jiang Xiaowei knew that her words were useless. Qin Chu wouldn't listen to her. Jiang Xiaowei and Zhu Lingling were both Huamin's good friends. The reason why he didn't tell Zhu Lingling was that she was too emotional and would show all her emotions on her face. She couldn't hide things in her heart, so she made things difficult for the pregnant woman this time. Jiang Xiaowei helped Huamin hide it from everyone. In fact, she already knew that Huamin was going to take the blame during the gathering. Perhaps the police would never know that Huamin had done something to a forensic doctor. On the day that Huamin and Lin Mingyu had dinner, the Public Security Bureau had sent someone to follow them. They even planted a bug in the restaurant, but Lin Mingyu didn't say anything. That was why the matter was left unsettled. Who would have known that Huamin had already implanted a miniature virus into his body? As a top-notch hacker, she had not tampered with computers for many years. The small virus was developed overnight. The advantage was that after it entered the phone, it would steal all the data within 3 minutes. Then, it disappeared as if it had never been poisoned. Therefore, even if someone checked Lin Mingyu's phone in the future, they wouldn't find anything wrong with it. The person involved didn't even realize that he was being used. Huamin actually felt quite guilty towards Lin Mingyu, but she had no other choice. Otherwise, she wouldn't have deliberately used him. The next morning, Qin Chu drove his Maybach to GK headquarters. However, when he got off the highway, a large truck came towards him. Fortunately, he turned the steering wheel in time and reacted quickly. He immediately dodged. However, a gray van appeared out of nowhere. It was only a little bit behind Qin Chu's car. Qin Chu made another turn, and at this moment, 2 motorcycles appeared out of nowhere. The people riding the motorcycles were wearing racing uniforms and heavy helmets. They were also holding baseball bats in their hands. When they rushed over, they aimed at Qin Chu's car window. He held the steering wheel with his left hand and took out a pistol with his right hand. He raised his hand and shot at the tire. Then, he fired a second shot at the motorcycle at the back, knocking it down. Inertia and speed caused a chain accident. Qin Chu quickly ran out of the gap and left the dangerous situation. Fortunately, he dodged in time, or else he would have been turned into a meat patty. This was definitely not an accident, it was man-made. The passers-by were all dumbfounded. They thought that they were filming a blockbuster, the scene was so explosive. When he arrived at the company, just as he walked into his office, Qin Chu's phone rang. The caller ID was Hua Xiqian. Qin Chu hesitated for a moment, then picked up the phone. The gift just now, do you like it? Hua Xiqian chuckled. Chapter 1589. One day, I'll pay you back double for everything you did to me and Mian. Ha! I'm really looking forward to it. Qin Chu, you're nothing more than a man who relies on women to take the blame for you. How dare you say you love Mian? What a hypocrite! A hypocrite like me is much better than a despicable person like you. At least a hypocrite won't hurt others, but you've stepped on so many people's lives. You're willing to do anything to achieve your goals. Hua Xiqian, aren't you afraid of divine punishment? Ha! Qin Chu, don't tease me, okay? Divine punishment. If God had eyes, he would have saved my childhood. Since he's blind and indifferent, why should I care about him? The one who can truly save myself is never God, but myself. Qin Chu, from now on, our war has officially begun. It's good that Mian's in there. When she comes out, you'll probably be dead by the time she comes out. Really? Then let's see who's the one without a corpse left. Then, the two hung up at the same time. Qin Chu walked to the window and looked out coldly. He couldn't feel any warmth at all. The moment little Mian was detained, his heart seemed to have been frozen. For someone like Hua Xiqian, dying without a corpse would be a light punishment. Chin Chu thought that he should be reduced to ashes to vent his hatred. Mian, don't be afraid. This time, I'll do whatever it takes. Chin Chu raised his hand and gently touched the glass window. There seemed to be a delicate face on it. Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling were silent at home. Zhu Lingling was crying, and Gao Ran was also silent. He called Chin Chu, but Chin Chu didn't pick up. He didn't know what to do now. Just then, Gao Ran's phone rang. Hello. Big brother Gao Ran, it's Xixin. Xixin, I called Sister Lingling, but her phone was turned off. Oh. Then it's probably out of battery. What's the matter? Xixin. The other party hesitated for a moment, then, Xixin said, Brother Gao Ran, where's my sister? Ahem. Your sister has been very busy recently. You know, there are too many things going on at the company. She's been very busy. Don't hide it from me. I have a classmate in Sea City. He told me everything. He said that my sister is a murderer. Xixin, don't overthink it. Your sister didn't kill anyone. She did it to buy time so that she could save your brother-in-law first. I also called brother-in-law, but he didn't pick up. He's not in a good mood right now. I don't think he'll answer anyone's call. Brother Gao Ran, I want to go back. Xixin, don't be impulsive. The situation in the country is very chaotic right now. If you come back, not only will you not be able to help, you might even become a burden to your sister. Really, listen to me, we'll definitely think of a way. I'm already back. I'm transferring flights now. I'll arrive tomorrow. Gao Ran didn't expect Xixin to come back so soon. My mom isn't back yet. I asked a friend here to take care of her. I told her that I'm going abroad to sketch, that's good. Gao Ran sighed in relief. If Huamin's mother found out, she would probably be even sadder. Su Yu's private mansion. Su Yu was on the phone. Young Master Su. I really can't agree to your request. You know, this case is too important. Mayor Song told me several times. Also, the higher-ups have ordered that this woman is on death row. To put it bluntly, they're waiting for her to be executed. They won't let anyone see her. Warden's son, do you remember that your son Xiao is in the military? He's a company commander, right? Ah, yes. A company commander is too young. I think he should be promoted to a regiment commander. The man seemed hesitant. Also, I heard that your eldest daughter and her husband's company is having a cash flow problem. I think the Su family bank can give them an interest-free loan. Young Master Su, we can't do that. How about 1 billion? Lord Su. You can't give me a hard time, I'm in a difficult position too. 3 billion. I don't think that's a good idea, young Master Su. It's settled then. I want to see Huamin at 9 tomorrow morning. If she loses a single strand of hair. I'll talk to you then. Then, Su Yu sneered and hung up the phone. Chapter 1590. After hanging up the phone, Su Yu sighed slightly. He knew that it was difficult for the warden. After all, this matter was related to Mayor Song. Therefore, when Su Yu was talking to the warden, he used both the carrot and the stick. On one hand, he gave the warden benefits, and on the other, he threatened the warden. In the end, the warden had no choice but to agree to Su Yu's request. However, Su Yu had to pay a price for this. He took out an interest-free loan of 3 billion yuan and promoted the warden's son through his connections in the military. If his grandfather knew about this, he would probably be scolded to death. But for Huamin, it was all worth it. Su Yu couldn't sleep for the entire night. He was even a little excited. When no one else was able to see Huamin, he was extremely lucky to be able to. The next morning, at 8 a.m., Suyu drove a low-key black Mercedes-Benz 600 and parked it not far from the prison. He was afraid that the black Lamborghini would attract the media's attention, so he changed his car. At 9 a.m., Suyu got out of the car on time. He usually liked to wear white, but today, he only wore a dark gray jacket and a black cap. The brim of the cap was very low. "Young Master Su, our boss told us to come this way." The warden arranged for people to pick up Suyu and bring him in through a secluded passage. The person stopped in front of a very dark secret room. "Young Master Su, because this isn't a formal visit, we can only do it here. I'm sorry for the inconvenience." "It's fine. Also, the visitation time is only 10 minutes. You must hurry up." 10 minutes. That's it. Suyu was slightly taken aback. "Young Master Su, to tell you the truth, our boss violated the rules this time as well. If people find out, the consequences will be unimaginable. You should know how many of Mayor Song's men are here. He's keeping a close eye on us. If anything goes wrong, our boss and I will be punished." "Okay, I understand." Suyu nodded. He didn't want to waste any more time. Then, that person opened the door to the secret room, and Suyu turned and went in. Huamin was brought to a small and narrow secret room. He thought that they were going to extort a confession, so he raised his vigilance and prepared himself for any eventuality. But when she saw that the person who came in was Suyu, she was a little dumbfounded. "You? Why are you here?" Huamin's eyes widened. "I'm here to deliver your lunchbox," Suyu said half-jokingly. Huamin was stunned. She didn't expect that there would still be someone who could visit her. When Qin Chu was imprisoned, she thought of many ways, but she still couldn't see him. Now that Suyu had come to see her, one could imagine the price he had to pay. Because it was not a formal visit, there was no need for them to be separated by glass. It was the kind where they could meet face to face. Suyu sat opposite Huamin. Looking at the slightly haggard Huamin, his heart began to ache. "You've lost weight. Is the food not good?" Suyu asked. Huamin shook her head. "My food is provided separately. Every meal is 4 dishes and 1 soup. It's good, but I don't have a good appetite, so I can't eat." "That's good. Did anyone bully you?" "No, I was imprisoned alone. I didn't have time to go out, so I didn't have any contact with other prisoners." "What about the prison guards?" "No, they were very nice to me." "Did anyone extort a confession?" "No." Huamin shook her head. That's good. Suyu repeated it twice and seemed to be a lot more relieved. The reason why he was in such a hurry to see Huamin was because he was afraid that she would be bullied in there. "How did you get in?" Huamin looked at Suyu and asked calmly. Chapter 1591. "Oh. I happen to know the warden, so I called him and came here. It's simple. Don't lie to me. I'm the murderer of a major murder case. I tried so many connections but couldn't even get a chance to see Qin Chu. You must have put in a lot of effort to come in and see me without a tape separating us." "No, it was simple." Suyu lowered his head, not daring to look at Huamin. "Suyu, yeah. Go back. Go back and be good. Don't worry about me and don't get involved in this mess. This is the path I chose. I don't want to drag you guys into this bullshit. How can I watch you throw your life away? I came here this time to tell you not to worry. Don't panic. In less than half a month, at most half a month, I will definitely let you out." Huamin smiled sadly. "I'm a murderer." Suyu looked up and looked deeply into Huamin's eyes. I know you're not, you only said that because you wanted to save Chin Chu. I don't know how you got the police's secrets, but what you did really broke us. I don't think Chin Chu would be happy. If he was saved and you died, I don't think he'd want to live alone. So, your plan wasn't perfect. Genius, you're really stupid. Listen to me. Su Yu, I'll be fine. Hua Xiqian is the mastermind behind this case. He knows the whole process and even planned every step. I can guarantee that he has people in the prison, so he won't let me die. But he's crazy. Even if he doesn't let you die, he won't let you out in one piece to be with Chin Chu. You know, you can't bet your life on a crazy person. Su Yu was a little agitated. Huamin bit his lips and slowly lowered his head, but I have no other choice. Perhaps this outcome isn't the worst. No, you still have a choice. You still have me. I'll get you out of here. When the time comes, you can go abroad with Chin Chu or change your name and live in seclusion. It's up to you. But I won't let you die. I'll get you out of this godforsaken place. Su Yu promised. Su Yu. Huamin seemed to want to say something. The door opened and the person outside said, "Young Master Su, it's almost time. Hurry." Su Yu nodded and got up slightly. Su Yu, can you help me pass a message to Chin Chu? Go ahead. Tell him to leave this place first. He must leave. When I can get out, I will definitely look for him. Alright, I'll definitely pass on the message. But it's up to him whether he leaves or not. He must leave. Otherwise, Hua Xiqian will still set him up. Huamin insisted. But he won't leave you behind. Then tell him that if he doesn't leave, I'll kill myself in prison. Huamin was determined. Huamin, you. Su Yu. I'm sorry. Let me be stubborn just this once. Tell Chin Chu that this isn't a joke. After 5 seconds of silence, Su Yu nodded. Okay, I'll tell him. After speaking, Su Yu turned around and left. 10 minutes was a short time, but Su Yu was already very satisfied. Seeing that Huamin was safe and sound, he felt extremely relieved. The next step was to figure out a way to get Huamin out. When he walked out of the prison, Huamin took out a list and stuffed it into the hands of the person who led him here. Bro, thank you for your hard work. Take good care of her for me. Here's some tea for you. Before the person could refuse, Su Yu left through the back door. Chapter 1592. The man looked down and saw that it was a check for 500,000 yuan. 500,000. His monthly salary was only 5,000 yuan, which was a little over 50,000 yuan a year. That was 10 years of salary. Everyone said that young Master Su was generous, and it seemed like he lived up to his reputation. When Su Yu came out, he sat in his car and smoked 3 cigarettes in a row. He thought about what Huamin just said. He wanted Chin Chu to leave because he was afraid that he would be in danger. If Hua Xiqian dared to be so brazen, it meant that he had a lot of people around him. He had the confidence to do so. Chin Chu would never be as despicable as Hua Xiqian. He lost because he was too kind. Huamin knew Chin Chu well, so he asked him to leave first. Once they reached the United States, they would no longer be in Hua Xiqian's territory. He couldn't do whatever he wanted. Guns were legal in the United States, so even if Chin Chu killed Hua Xiqian, nothing would happen to him. However, Su Yu also knew that Chin Chu wouldn't leave. How could he leave Huamin here alone? Therefore, this couple really put him in a difficult position. Half an hour later, Su Yu drove directly to GK headquarters. He didn't pass anyone and went straight to the top floor. He pushed open the door to the president's office, and Assistant Yang couldn't stop him. Boss. President Su forced his way in, we couldn't stop him. Assistant Yang looked like he was about to cry. It's okay, you can leave. Chin Chu looked up at Suyu but didn't say anything. Suyu walked over, leaned on the desk with both hands, and looked at Chin Chu closely. Did I just see Huamin? Chin Chu's thousand-year iceberg expression suddenly revealed a look of surprise. He looked up and saw Suyu. I only saw her for 10 minutes, so I'll keep it short. She's fine. She didn't get hurt. She just looked a little haggard. Huamin asked me to pass on a message to you. Speak. She wants you to leave as soon as possible. Leave this place and go to America first. Then, when she finds a way out, she'll go to America to look for you. Impossible. Chin Chu directly refused. She knew you would say that, so she told me. Explain what? Chin Chu looked at Suyu quietly. Suyu took a deep breath and turned his head. His voice was very soft. She said that if you don't leave, she will die in prison. In an instant, Chin Chu's heart shrank into a ball. However, he could imagine how Huamian felt when she said something like that. So, I also think you should leave. Don't make her worry. Suyu tried to persuade Chin Chu. So I can watch her die with a clear conscience. Chin Chu replied coldly. She won't die. I won't let her die. If you trust me, you can leave first. After I rescue Huamin, I will send her to America to reunite with you. I'm sorry, but I don't trust anyone when it comes to Mion's life. So, you insist on staying? Yes, at any cost. Chin Chu's attitude became even more resolute. Suyu really wanted to tie the couple up and feed them to the fish. They were too stubborn. Okay, then it's your problem. From now on, we'll save Huamin with our own abilities. After Huamin is out of danger, I'll deal with that bastard Huasiqian. After speaking, Suyu turned around and left. Wait, Chin Chu called out from behind him. Is there anything else? Suyu turned around and glanced at Chin Chu's face. If something happens to me one day and I can't be with Mion anymore, I hope you can take good care of her. What's this? Last words. You're leaving your wife to me. Suyu looked at Chin Chu in disbelief. He was on the verge of breaking down. You can interpret it however you like. Anyways, that's it. After speaking, Chin Chu lowered his head and went back to work, ignoring Suyu. Suyu felt like thousands of alpacas were running through his heart. He wanted to kill someone. He was going crazy. Mo Shua's private apartment. After the two of them did it, Jiang Yi hugged Mo Shua and asked, Honey, Huamin is in jail right now. We don't know if he's dead or alive. Isn't Huasiqian going to save him? Chapter 1593. Mo Shua sneered, how's that possible? Huamin is the apple of his eye. Even if he doesn't care about anyone else, he'll still care about Huamin. Jiang Yi was slightly surprised. I didn't know that someone as selfish as Huasiqian would love someone so much. Mo Shua's heart ached. That's because they've known each other for a long time. Some people are very sentimental. The older something is, the more they cherish it. Mo Shua's heart ached when she thought about how Huamin and Huasiqian had known each other since they were young. Haha, that's easy. When you're old, when you're 80 years old, Huasiqian will still remember you, Jiang Yi teased. Go away, you bastard, you've got to be kidding me. I don't even want him to remember me. I just hope that he won't be so cruel to me, all these years. Forget it, let's not talk about him. How do you think Huasiqian will save Huamin? Will he find someone to take the blame? Or, will he just turn himself in? Ha! turn himself in. Are you kidding me? Do you think he's that stupid? Mo Shuer looked at Jiang Yi with disdain. I'm really curious. At this point, how will he control the situation? After all, Hua Xiqian probably didn't expect Hua Min to be so extreme. Mo Shuer turned around, looked at Jiang Yi, and smiled. You seem to care a lot about Hua Min. Why? You still haven't forgotten? Haha, that's just how I am. You know that the more I can't have something, the more I want it. Jiang Yi chuckled. I can't think of how Hua Xiqian will save Hua Min, and I don't want to think about it. Anyways, let's just wait and see. This isn't something we can get involved in. The water is too deep. The Qin family wants to save Hua Min, the Su family wants to save him, and the Hua family. Anyways, with so many people watching, it's going to be interesting. I'm actually thinking that if Hua Min really dies quietly in prison, and when they come to save him, they'll see a corpse. That would be interesting. Shuer, you're evil. Haven't you heard of it? I've never been merciful to begin with. Anyway, Hua Mian's life has nothing to do with me. It's better that she's dead. She's lucky that she's still alive. The Hua corporations. After a busy day, the sun began to set, and the sky gradually darkened. The entire building quieted down. Hua Xiqian held a glass of red wine and slowly sipped it. Ah Sang's Loneliness is Singing was playing in his office. It's dark, loneliness is slowly seeping away. Someone's heart is beginning to ache. I've loved her for a long time, and I haven't seen her in a long time. She's still alive. Hua Xiqian had been in a bad mood lately, and his smile had faded. Just then, someone knocked on the door. Come in. Boss, where are the photos? They're all here. His subordinate took out a brown paper bag and handed it over. Hua Xiqian put down the wine glass in his hand and took out the photos in the brown paper bag. There were more than 20 photos of Hua Min. There were all kinds of photos, and the background was obviously taken in prison. Hua Xiqian picked up the photos one by one, and his gaze became gentle. She's lost weight. Is she not eating well? No. I checked, and Miss Hua eats very well. According to your orders, there are special prison guards taking care of her. She eats 4 dishes and 1 soup every meal, but Miss Hua doesn't have a good appetite, so she eats very little. That's right. If you were locked up, you wouldn't be in the mood to eat. His subordinate didn't dare to say anything. Any news from the prison? Chapter 1594. Not yet. I don't know if he'll be tried directly or sent out for investigation. We're all waiting. I got it, Hua Xiqian said as he flipped through Hua Mian's photo again and again, unable to put it down. Boss, why don't we find someone to take the blame? That way, Miss Hua can be released. What about after she's released? Then she can be with Qin Chu forever. Hua Xiqian asked. His subordinate didn't dare to say anything. You've been with me for a long time, so you should know that I won't do something so crude. Mian has so much evidence to prove that she's the murderer, so I can't find someone else to take the blame. It's not convincing, and it'll only complicate things. But if it's too late, I'm afraid that Miss Hua will be in danger. I heard that Mayor Song has people in prison as well. I'm afraid that they'll do something to Miss Hua. Don't worry, Song Qinghua is a sly old fox. Even if he wants to do something, he won't dare to do it in prison. He doesn't have the guts. I know what to do, you can leave now. Yes, boss. After his subordinate left, Hua Xiqian turned on his computer screen. The wallpaper on his desktop was a picture of an island with beautiful scenery. This was a private island in the South Pacific Ocean. It wasn't on the map and was considered private property. Hua Xiqian bought this island a year ago and began building it on a large scale. He built a paradise on the sea that was comparable to the Maldives. He thought that if Mian could come back one day, he would take her there. Then, the two of them would live the life of an immortal couple on the island. Huamin's actions this time really caught Hua Xiqian off guard. It was really unexpected, but he could accept it. After all, that guy was a genius, so it was normal for him to have strange ideas. No one knew what Hua Xiqian was thinking, but he already had a perfect plan in mind. With Mayor Song's temper, he would use his connections to get Huamin to execute Huamin, and it would be soon. Hua Xiqian only needed to arrange everything on the day of the execution. He would use a death row inmate to disguise himself as Huamin and die in place of Huamin. Then, he would create a fire at the scene and burn the bodies beyond recognition. This way, everyone would think that Huamin was really dead. Then, he could take Huamin to live on a private island without any worries. He did not need to hypnotize Huamin, nor did he need to make Huamin lose his memories. This was the Huamin that he loved. All he had to do was put Huamin under house arrest and live with him on the island for the rest of his life. A lifetime was a very long time. He believed that one day, Huamin would fall in love with him. Thinking that his wish was about to come true, Hua Xiqian's heart skipped a beat. He looked at the picture of the island on his computer screen and smiled gently. Mian, it's going to be soon. Just wait a little longer, and we can go to the heaven that belongs to the two of us. Before this, he had to do one more thing, and that was to get rid of Qin Chu. Otherwise, Qin Chu would haunt him and Huamin for the rest of their lives, he thought. Inside the mayor's office, Mayor Song's personal phone rang. He picked up his phone and looked at the number. Then, he looked around and made sure that it was safe before picking up the phone. What is it? Mayor, I don't have a chance to do it, there are too many people protecting her. There are a few forces, and even the warden comes to visit her once a day. It's not that I don't want to do it. What do you think? The man in the prison was in a difficult position. Chapter 1595. Mayor Song was silent for a moment. Then, he slowly said, "It's okay, a day or two won't make a difference. I've already applied for a death sentence. You just have to hide the fact that she's pregnant. After she dies, it'll be too late for a forensic examination. We can't bring her back to life." Okay, that's easy. I'll definitely do it. Thank you for your hard work. After this is over, I'll transfer you directly to the National Tax Bureau. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Huamin was pregnant and not a single friend knew about it. Even she didn't know about it. She had been so busy recently that she didn't even think about it. She didn't expect that the first person to find out was her enemy. How ironic. Because a pregnant woman couldn't be sentenced to death, she would be locked up for investigation. After the child was born, the sentence would be announced. At that time, for the sake of the newborn, the death sentence would be changed to a reprieve. Mayor Song would never let something like that happen, so he didn't hesitate to hide the fact that Huamin was pregnant. Mayor Song, who had lost his daughter, no longer considered whether he was going to harm an innocent little life. Tokyo, Japan, inside the headquarters of a certain corporation. An elevator was slowly rising. A white-haired Japanese man in his 50s was inside, holding a briefcase. When the elevator reached the 18th floor, it stopped and the door opened. A young girl in a white school uniform with two cute braids walked in. When she smiled, she looked especially beautiful with her watery eyes. The man's eyes scanned the young girl's body pervertedly. The elevator door closed, trapping the two of them in an enclosed space. "Are you a student?" The man couldn't help but ask. "Masao Takada, right?" the young girl asked. I am. The young girl smiled sweetly. I'm here to give you a present. A present for me? The man was slightly surprised. The young girl reached under her skirt and took out a gun with a silencer between her legs. She aimed at the camera in the elevator and fired. There was a loud bang. The man was so scared that his face turned pale. Don't kill me, don't shoot, don't shoot, the young girl smiled slightly. Don't worry, I won't shoot you. Then, the young girl took out a small device from her hairpin and stuck it on the back of the man's head. Then, she smiled charmingly. Goog look. The man was terrified and curled up in the corner of the elevator. With a ding, the elevator stopped at the top floor. The girl ran straight to the rooftop, then quickly fixed the pulley and slid down from the 38th floor with a steel cable. There was a black Toyota waiting for them behind. Boss, are you done? Okay, let's go. The girl jumped into the car and put on her black windbreaker. The car quickly left the building. The entire process took 1 minute and 35 seconds. Just as the car started to leave, a deafening bang came from the top floor of the commercial building. Boss, well done. This guy's biochemical weapon has poisoned so many innocent women and children during the SOE war. This time, we've taken the money to kill him. We're doing justice for the heavens. The girl chewed her gum and didn't respond. Boss, are we going to Mexico next? One of his subordinates asked. No, it's City C, a clear voice sounded. But, didn't the professor say that you're not allowed to enter the country? This time, I have to go. Otherwise, she might not be able to come out. The young girl leaned against the car seat and said lazily with her eyes closed. At this moment, Wamin was still in prison. He was eating slowly, calmly, and calmly. She didn't know how many people's hearts were affected by her imprisonment. Chapter 1596. Zhu Lingling's house. Jiang Shaowei, Zhu Lingling, and Gao Ran were all sitting on the sofa in the living room. Jixin opened the door and walked in. He was wearing a dark green windbreaker and seemed to have grown a lot taller. Sister Lingling, sister slightly. Brother Gao Ran, Jixin said quietly. Jixin, come and sit down. Jixin, have you seen your brother-in-law? Zhu Lingling asked anxiously. I have. How's Qin Chu doing right now? Gao Ran asked. Brother-in-law is in a bad mood. He said that he has a way to save my sister and that I shouldn't worry. Mr. Qin is really going crazy this time. He won't listen to any of us. What should we do? Zhu Lingling was a little flustered. Sister Lingling, did Hua Xiqin start this murder case? Jixin asked. Who else could it be? That bastard. I'm so angry, I want to cut him into pieces to vent my anger. Zhu Lingling was furious at the mention of Hua Xiqin's name. Then I know what to do. After speaking, Jixin turned around and walked out the door. However, Gao Ran pulled him back. The pregnant Jiang Shaowei quickly got up and comforted him. Jixin, you can't be impulsive. You can't let anything happen to you again, or else your sister won't be able to rest easy. I want to avenge my sister. I want to kill Hua Xiqin. Jixin's eyes were bloodshot. Jixin, now is not the time to be stubborn. Murder is illegal, and even if it wasn't, you can't kill Hua Xiqin. He's not as weak as you think. Plus, revenge isn't the most important thing right now. The most important thing is, we have to think of a way to save your sister first. Gao Ran hugged Jixin tightly, trying to calm him down. Brother Gao Ran, I may be young, but I understand everything. My sister is the family I care about the most. If anything happens to her, I won't be able to accept it. I'd rather pay with my life than let him continue to hurt my sister and brother-in-law. Jing Jixin thought a lot on the plane back home. He wanted to fight Hua Xiqian to the death. He knew that this was a very irrational decision, but he had no other choice. Hua Xiqian and his sister went to jail one after the other, and his family was in chaos. If he had to sacrifice someone for peace, then he would be the one. Jixin, listen to us. Your sister loves you so much, she definitely doesn't want anything to happen to you. Plus, Gao Rand is right, Hua Xiqian isn't that easy to deal with. Even your brother-in-law has to plan carefully, don't make things worse, don't be impulsive, listen to us. Jiang Shaowei scolded. Jixin, does auntie know about this? Zhu Lingling asked anxiously. Jixin shook his head. Not yet, but my mom feels something. She's been asking to talk to my sister for the past few days. I kept telling her that my sister and brother-in-law are busy, and she started to believe me. But as time goes on, I'm afraid I won't be able to hide it anymore. Then let's keep it a secret for now. Otherwise, when auntie finds out, we'll have one more person to worry about. The others comforted Jixin and tried to calm him down. Jiang Shaowei, Zhu Lingling, and Gao Ran were also discussing how to save Huamin, but none of their ideas were good and were ultimately rejected. In the end, Jiang Shaowei sighed and said, if Mian was pregnant, then things would be much easier. Pregnant women don't have to be executed, and their sentences can be delayed for a long time. If she's not feeling well during her pregnancy, she can apply for medical parole. That would be much easier. It's not that easy, it hasn't happened in so long, how could it happen now? Plus, if she was pregnant, there would be medical checkups in prison. Shouldn't they have found out a long time ago? Gao Ran added. Then, the three of them fell silent. Well, corporation headquarters, boss, she's here. Oh, really? She's already in the country? Hua Xiqian asked with a smile. She's already in the country, she brought 2 subordinates with her. They flew here directly from Japan. Chapter 1597. Very good, looks like she can't hold it in anymore. She really is Mian's best friend. Hua Xiqian smiled meaningfully. Boss, if she comes, we'll be in danger. Do we need to call more people over? His subordinates seemed to be very wary of the sheath they were talking about. No, I just need to make a call. After speaking, Hua Xiqian picked up his phone and dialed a number. Then, he spoke a long string of words in German that no one understood. Finally, he hung up. Done, I'm going to give her a big present. Hua Xiqian smiled. At the entrance of Sea City International Airport, a long-haired girl wearing a long black trench coat walked in with her hands in her pockets and a pair of black sunglasses. She walked out of the international airport exit with 2 burly men following behind her. Hello, we are China Customs. We suspect that you are carrying contraband. Please accept our investigation. 2 armed police officers walked over and blocked the girl's path. The girl took off her sunglasses and smiled. Officer, are you mistaken? I'm still a student. Do you have a student ID? Yes. She smiled as she took out an ID from her bag and handed it over. The police officer glanced at it and then said with a straight face, we found an unknown object on you during the investigation. Please cooperate with our investigation. But I'm in a hurry to do something, the girl said coquettishly. Please cooperate with our investigation. It won't take too long. Thank you. Just then, the 2 burly men behind the girl were about to make a move. The girl immediately raised her hand and gestured for them not to move. Then, she smiled. Okay, I'll go with you. The 2 of them are coming too. Okay. The girl smiled as she followed the 2 police officers. The 2 burly men followed the girl closely, their eyes cold and vicious. Just as they passed by a secluded passageway, the girl suddenly made a move and choked one of the police officers' neck. The two burly men behind her immediately went up and stopped the other police officer. "Mike, keep them alive, don't kill them," the girl reminded loudly after knocking out the police officer in her hand. The subordinate nodded and knocked out the other one as well. "Boss, the police are so troublesome. Why don't we just kill them? I don't want to start a massacre here." The girl took out a white handkerchief and wiped her fingers before leaving with her subordinates. "I have a bad feeling about this," the girl said faintly. "How do you feel?" "I think we're being targeted. These two police officers are just the beginning." The young lady felt that her entry this time was not as smooth as the last time. She was checked as soon as she got off the plane. It seemed that his father was right. Sea City wasn't a good place to stay. First hospital, Chu, are you really not coming with us? Chin Chu's uncle looked at him seriously and asked. "Uncles, you guys leave tonight and take good care of my dad. After I'm done, I'll fly over with Mian to meet you guys, big brother. I'm a little worried about you. Why don't I stay?" Chi Ning was a little worried. "No, all of you, leave. Don't leave a single one behind." Chin Chu's attitude was firm. Afraid of being ambushed by Hua Xiqian's people, they prepared a private plane. Chin Chu's parents, Chin Chu's uncle, and his sister all left on this plane. "If that's the case, we'll wait for you guys in Hawaii." "You must be careful," Chin Chu's uncle reminded him. "I know." After giving his orders, Chin Chu left the first hospital. However, at a fork in the road, he was stopped by a red Ferrari. "Rick." Chin Chu opened his mouth slightly. "Come to Seductive Fox with me. I have something to tell you. I have something urgent to do right now. I'll find you when I get back." "No, now. Get out of the car." Rick took out his gun and pointed it at Chin Chu with a cold expression. This time, he was serious. Chapter 1598. At such a crowded intersection, Rick's actions were undoubtedly frightening. In the end, Chin Chu had no choice but to follow Rick to Seductive Fox. On the top floor of Seductive Fox, "What is it?" Chin Chu sat on the sofa and asked in a low voice. "Where were you going just now?" Chin Chu didn't respond. "You're going to kill Hua Xiqian, right?" Rick asked. Chin Chu didn't respond. "That's what Huamin is most worried about. She asked you to do it again and again, but you insisted on doing it. Even if you don't think about yourself, you should think about your wife. After I kill him, I'll go save Huamian." "There's no conflict," Chin Chu said calmly. "What if you make a mistake and die?" Rick was furious. "Do you think I'm afraid of dying?" Chin Chu looked up and looked into Rick's eyes. His eyes were so deep that they seemed bottomless. When Chin Chu was furious, he was still as calm as the ocean. This was what made him different from others. It could also be understood as the calm before the storm. Of course you're not afraid of dying, and neither are others. But have you thought about what would happen to Huamin if you died? After a long silence, Chin Chu slowly opened his mouth. "If I die, she still has Su Yu." As soon as he finished speaking, Rick punched him in the face. It was a heavy punch, and he didn't hold back at all. Chin Chu's right cheek immediately swelled up slightly. "I didn't think that you'd say something so crazy. Who do you think Huamin is? Do you think she'd leave a spare tire for herself? If you die, she'll still have Su Yu." Don't you think you're a jerk for saying that?" Rick never thought that Chin Chu would have such a ridiculous idea. Chin Chu wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Then, he slowly said, "Rick, you might not realize how much of a threat Hua Xiqian is to Mian. If he doesn't die, he'll be a nightmare for Mian. I can't let him continue to hurt Mion, so I can't be merciful anymore. I have to kill him. I'm quite confident in my skills. If I make a mistake, the worst that can happen is that we both die together. It's worth it to exchange my death for Mion's peace and quiet. But how can Hwamin have peace without you for the rest of his life? Rick was furious. I told you that Suyu will take good care of her. Even if she dies with me, it won't change anything. Rick, many people in China believe in reincarnation, but I don't believe in reincarnation. We only have this life, and there's no next life. So, even if Mion dies with me, it won't change anything. I won't let her die. I want her to live well, with or without me. Rick was completely silent after hearing this. He finally understood. It wasn't because Chin Chu didn't love Hwamin enough, but because he loved Hwamin too much. So, he had to get rid of Hua Xiqian for her and pave the way for Hwamin's rest. Chin Chu loved Hwamin so much that he had such selfish thoughts. You two are crazy. One of you is in prison, and the other is risking her life to take the blame. One of you is sacrificing yourself for the other. Rick was about to go crazy. If I don't come back, Suyu will definitely find a way to get her out. Mion will be fine. After speaking, Chin Chu slowly stood up. Just as Rick was about to speak, Chin Chu said, "If you're my brother, then don't stop me. This is the path I chose. I'm Hwamin's man, not a coward. Okay, I won't stop you. Go." Rick lowered his voice. Chapter 1599. When Chin Chu got up and walked to the door, he felt numbness on the back of his neck. Then, he turned around and looked at Rick in disbelief. "Rick. You..." Before he could finish, Chin Chu fainted on the ground. "I'm sorry. I can't watch you die. I promised Hwamin that I would protect you." Rick looked at the fainted Chin Chu and murmured. He didn't want to use anesthesia on him, but he had no choice. Chin Chu was too stubborn. He looked like he was going to fight Hua Xiqian to the death. Rick was also in a relationship, so he knew what Chin Chu meant. Even if he had to die, he wanted Hwamin to live a carefree life. Chin Chu loved Hwamin too much and didn't want her to be hurt. However, Rick thought that if she lost Chin Chu, so what if Hwamin lived a peaceful life? Would she be happy? Of course not. She would live the rest of her life in pain of losing Chin Chu. "Boss, what should we do with Mr. Chin?" Rick's men came in and looked at Chin Chu, who was under anesthesia. "Send him to the secret room first. Also, remember to handcuff him. He's very strong. If the anesthesia wears off, you guys won't be able to defeat him." "Yes, boss." After they carried Chin Chu away, Rick walked out of the office, exhausted. A girl in a dark green cotton jacket ran over to him. She held Rick's hand intimately. "What's wrong? Are you tired?" "Yes." "Are you still worried about Hwamian and the others?" "Yes." "Don't worry. I think Hwamin is a very kind girl. She'll be fine." "Cece, it's not as simple as you think." Rick looked at the girl gently. "Actually, it's not that complicated. Don't think that I don't know anything. It's just that Hwamin and her husband are very much in love, and the big bad guy, Hua Xiqian, wants to interfere. But the main problem now is that Hwamin is still a murderer. He's in prison and facing trial." Rick felt depressed at the thought of Hwamin still in prison. Hwamin isn't a murderer. She wouldn't do that. She just wanted to protect her husband. Her husband isn't a murderer. This is all a trap set up by that big bad guy. "Cece, do you believe in Hwamin?" Rick patted Cece's head lovingly. Of course. I've always idolized Huamin. I know everything about her, including the time when she went beyond her authority to perform surgery on a pregnant woman. I don't believe that such a kind girl would be a murderer, and I don't believe that she would use such a cruel method to kill. That's why I know what's going on right away. Rick glanced at Cece in relief. I'll do my best. Rick wasn't a talkative person. This was his promise to his friends. Inside the presidential suite of a 5-star hotel, a beautiful girl quickly climbed in through the window. Boss, are you okay? I'm fine. I blew them up, that's strange. We were so secretive this time. How did they know we were here? Did someone leak our location on purpose? Her subordinates were very confused. The girl walked to the wine rack and poured herself a glass of red wine. Then, she slowly tasted it. Don't underestimate the people here. They're very powerful. Hua Xiqian isn't a simple person. So many people investigated him for 6 years in Germany, but they couldn't find anything. I have to say, he's a very powerful person. Boss, there's one more thing. What is it? The girl raised her head slightly. Chapter 1600. The Qin family will take a private plane out of here tonight and fly directly to America, but Hua Xiqian's men sneaked onto the plane. It seems like they want to kill the Qin family. How could they be so despicable? The girl put down the wine glass in her hand, slightly stunned. Do we need to help? Of course, send someone to rescue them immediately. We can't let anything happen to the Qin family. The girl immediately ordered her subordinates to help the Qin family. She knew that they were her sister's family and that her sister loved them dearly, so she couldn't let anything happen to them. Yes. That psycho Hua, everyone says that my sister doesn't like him. If it were me, I wouldn't like him either. He's inhumane, he's worse than a dog or a pig. The girl's evaluation of Hua Xiqian was that he was worse than a dog or a pig. She had never underestimated him and knew that he had his own power in Germany. Although no one had ever found out, she had a feeling that he was closely related to a certain organization. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to control everything in Dongtao Town and obtain so much information. She also suspected that he had purposely leaked her whereabouts to her sworn enemy. Was he trying to stop her from saving her sister? Her subordinates went to rescue the Qin family. The girl sat in the presidential suite and was about to enter the bathroom to take a bath. Just then, she heard the doorbell ring. Who is it? She asked. Room service. The girl walked over and opened the door. The moment she opened the door, the waiter took a gun and aimed it at her head. Luckily, the girl reacted quickly and dodged to the side. Then, she rolled up the towel in her hand and threw it at the waiter. Ever since she stepped foot on this land, she had never had peace. She was stopped at the airport for no reason, got into a car accident, and was hunted down by her nemesis. Now, the hotel had arranged for assassins to come in. She was overwhelmed. Luckily, it was her. Otherwise, she would have died 1,000 times over. She regretted coming here now. It wasn't that she was afraid of death. It was that she didn't want to bring more trouble to her sister. The people who hunted her down had been following her all these years. What if they found out about her sister's identity? If that happened, then she would never have a peaceful life. It seemed that her dad was right. The next morning, the whole corporation held a ribbon-cutting ceremony for a project. All the leaders in the city came. There were also many important figures in the business world gathered in front of the whole corporation. All the media were in position, waiting to take pictures of this lively scene. On the stage, Hua Xiqian was dressed in a red suit. He looked extremely flirtatious and had a mesmerizing smile on his face. Next, Let's welcome our President Hua to cut the ribbon. Everyone, give him a warm welcome. After that, Hua Xiqian turned around and picked up the scissors from behind the hostess. Just as he was about to cut the ribbon, someone rushed out from the side of the stage. Without a word, he threw a vicious punch at Hua Xiqian. Ah! Someone hit me. Someone hit me. The stage was in complete chaos. It was a good ribbon-cutting ceremony, but it turned into a mess. Many tabloid media immediately seized the opportunity to take photos. At this moment, after taking a closer look, everyone realized that the one who had hit him was the dignified crown prince of the Su family, Su Yu. Wow, this is big news. Lord Su beat up President Hua. Quick, take a picture. The reporters crazily squeezed forward, and took photos furiously. There were even people on the scene who were doing live commentary. Next, let's take a look at the chaos at the Hua Corporation's ribbon-cutting ceremony. For some reason, the president of Imperial Star, Su Yu, seemed to be very emotional. He suddenly jumped out and beat up Hua Xiqian. Everyone, please look behind me. Chapter 1601. Su Yu, are you crazy? This is a public place. Hua Xiqian lay on the ground and looked at Su Yu. Su Yu pinned Hua Xiqian to the ground, his fists raining down on him mercilessly. Bastard, I want to hit you in public so you don't disguise people with your disgusting mask. You're a beast in human clothing. I never thought that you'd rather destroy Hua Min than see her happy. Then, Su Yu punched Hua Xiqian's face again. Hua Xiqian could have fought back in self-defense. But, he didn't. He just lay on the ground and let Su Yu punch him like a weakling. Ha, so you're doing this for Mian. No wonder you're so angry. But you've done so much for her, does she even appreciate your kindness? Hua Xiqian laughed wildly. Su Yu glared at Hua Xiqian. I'm not like you. I don't need her to appreciate my kindness. As long as she's happy, I'm happy. Oh, really? Then your love is really great. Unfortunately, I'm not as great as you. My principle is that if I can't have something, I'd rather destroy it. So, Qin Chu can't have it either. Even if you beat me to death, it's useless. Ha, didn't you hear the news? My father-in-law has already given the order. It will be announced tomorrow, and the execution will be carried out in 3 days. My sister will be executed by shooting. Young Master Su, do you know what that means? It's a bullet that goes through her head and her brain explodes. From then on, Hua Min will completely disappear from this world. She doesn't belong to you, she doesn't belong to me, and she definitely doesn't belong to Qin Chu. Ha! It's perfect. Even under these circumstances, Hua Xiqian was still saying these things to piss Su Yu off. Su Yu was about to lose his mind. He raised his fist and continued to punch Hua Xiqian. The entire process was photographed and recorded by the media. When the police arrived, Hua Xiqian was already badly injured. Both sides of his face were bruised. Su Yu's fist also had a lot of red veins, which showed how desperately he fought. President Su, please come with us. You're suspected of assault. The policeman looked at Su Yu awkwardly. Su Yu stood up, panting, and swaggered away with the police. Hua Xiqian also went to record a statement. Hua Xiqian immediately sued Su Yu for intentional injury. That night, all the major media outlets published an article at the same time with the title, "The son of a high-ranking officer is extremely willful, the president of a group goes berserk on the street, lawless." This article aroused the anger of many onlookers who did not know the truth. They thought that Su Yu was using his background as a high-ranking officer to do whatever he wanted and bully ordinary people. Most importantly, Hua Xiqian was too successful at pretending to be pitiful. He was beaten up badly from the beginning to the end, but he did not fight back. Therefore, he gained a lot of sympathy. The public opinion was one-sided. When Gao Ran saw Su Yu in the detention room of the Municipal Public Security Bureau, he was also depressed. "Lord Su, aren't you being too impulsive? I can't stand that bastard swaggering through the streets." "But you shouldn't have hit him." "Hitting him was enough to vent my anger," Su Yu said confidently. "But you're being detained too." Gao Ran didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "It's just 48 hours of detention, I don't care, but he's suing you for intentional injury." "I don't care either." "But did you know? Huamin's sentence will be announced tomorrow morning." Gao Ran looked at him and said seriously. "What sentence?" Su Yu stood up and looked at Gao Ran in panic. He was really afraid that Hu Xiqian's words were true. Gao Ran didn't say anything. "Say it." Su Yu roared. "The execution will be carried out in 3 days, Gao Ran said slowly. Su Yu felt his mind go blank for a moment. Chapter 1602. "What did you say?" Su Yu grabbed Gao Ran's collar in agitation and asked with wide eyes. "She'll be executed in 3 days, and the news will be announced tomorrow morning. Huamin's situation is a little special. She confessed and turned herself in, so there's no need for a second trial. Of course, Mayor Song must have something to do with why she was executed so soon." "Motherfucker." Su Yu cursed in exasperation. Just then, a middle-aged man in a suit walked in. "I'm Commander Su's lawyer, I'm here to bail young Master Su out," the man said haughtily. However, as soon as they heard that he was Commander Su's lawyer, the police officers' attitudes immediately softened. "Su Yu, you can't do this, it's useless. We have to calm down, saving Huamin is our top priority. What I'm saying is that we should all gather for a meeting. Xixin's back too. Also, we can go find Qin Chu and Dr. Jiang. We can discuss this together. I'm sure we'll find a way." "No need, I have my own way." Su Yu shook off Gao Ran's hand and left angrily. Su Yu had always been dissatisfied with the police's attitude, because they never found the so-called truth. Qin Chu and Huamin, 2 innocent people, went to jail one after another, while the real murderer, Hu Xiqian, got away scot-free. Therefore, Su Yu had always been indifferent to the police, and even a little disgusted with them. Therefore, he didn't listen to Gao Ran's suggestion that they should all think of a way. After Su Yu left, Gao Ran called Qin Chu, but his phone was turned off. Gao Ran immediately called Xixin. "Xixin, big brother Gao Ran. Where are you?" "Sky Blessing Court." "Have you contacted your brother-in-law?" "I contacted him yesterday. Brother-in-law said that he had something to do and would call me when he was done." "Oh no. Qin Chu, that idiot." Gao Ran didn't dare to think too much. He immediately ordered his subordinates to investigate Qin Chu's whereabouts. After a long investigation, they discovered that he had last appeared at Seductive Fox. Furthermore, he had only entered and not left, which meant that Qin Chu was still in Seductive Fox. Then, Gao Ran called Rick. "Is Qin Chu with you?" "Yes." "Put him on the phone." "He can't answer the phone right now," Rick replied faintly. "Inconvenient." What did he mean? Is he injured? Gao Ran's heart tightened. "No." "Then, Qin Chu is with me, he's very safe. I promised Huamin that I wouldn't let anything happen to him, so I've detained him for now. I won't let him fight with Hu Xiqian." After hearing what Rick said, Gao Ran immediately understood what was going on. "Then, what about Huamin? What do we do? How do we save him?" Gao Ran was anxious. "I'll send someone to break Huamin out of prison and arrange for her to go to the States to meet with Qin Chu." "Meet with Qin Chu in the States, you mean?" Gao Ran was a bit surprised. Yes, I'll arrange for Qin Chu to go to the States tomorrow night because he's Hua Xiqian's target, so he can't stay here for long. This is also Hua Min's idea. Alright, I'm clear now. Hearing that Rick had made arrangements, Gao Ran finally let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that the death penalty wasn't a bad thing for Hua Min, because before that, he would have a way to save her. Inside a secret room in Seductive Fox after the anesthetic, Qin Chu gradually woke up. You're awake. Rick sat on the sofa beside him and asked quietly. Chapter 1603. Rick, what are you doing? I'm just following Hua Min's orders. Let go of me, I have to save her. Don't worry, I'll save her for you. Rick, you don't understand. As long as Hua Xiqian doesn't die, he'll definitely stop us from saving Mian. Don't worry, I'll save Hua Min even if it costs me my life. That's my promise to you, my friend. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He knew that Rick was stubborn and wouldn't change his mind easily once he made up his mind. There's something else I have to tell you. Qin Chu slowly raised his head. What? She's here, who? Qin Chu didn't know how to react. Lu Yan. She. Qin Chu didn't expect Hua Mian's sister to be here. When did she enter the country? Yesterday, and as soon as she entered the country, she was hunted down and assassinated. It seems like Hua Xiqian knows she's here, so he's been causing trouble for her. Upon hearing this, Qin Chu fell silent again. Anyways, other than you, there are a lot of people who want to save Hua Min. Lu Yan, Su Yu, and me, all of them, please believe us. It's not that I don't believe you, Rick, I just... Before Qin Chu could finish his sentence, Rick interrupted him. Tomorrow night, I'll arrange for a private jet to take you to the States. You have to leave first, Hua Min ordered. After I save Hua Min, I'll take her to the States to meet you. No, I'm not leaving. You have to go, you have no other choice. Then, Rick stood up and left. Rick. No matter how much Qin Chu yelled, Rick insisted on leaving. After Rick left, Qin Chu began to think about the events of the past few days. Mr. Qin hadn't woken up yet, he was still in a coma after the major surgery. Although the critical period was over, there were still many things to pay attention to in the future, so he decided to go to the United States for treatment. That day, Mama Qin told Qin Chu something that shocked Qin Chu. Hua Min was pregnant. Later, when Mama Qin told him the whole story, Qin Chu calmed down. He guessed that Hua Min might have told a white lie to appease his father. Otherwise, why didn't Hua Min mention something as important as pregnancy to him? Even Jiang Xiaowei and Zhu Lingling, who were such good friends, didn't know about it. Most importantly, prisoners had to go through strict medical examinations. If Hua Min was pregnant, the death penalty would not be carried out. The news had been announced long ago, so Qin Chu thought it was fake. Indeed, because Hua Min still didn't know that she was pregnant. Hua Min sat quietly in the prison. Her period had been delayed for about 10 days. This had never happened before, but it was a special time. Hua Min was a doctor, so she thought that it might be because she had been in a bad mood recently, which caused her endocrine imbalance. Therefore, she still didn't think that she was pregnant. After all, the last time she was with Qin Chu was under such stressful circumstances. And it was just that one time. Hua Min, have some fruit. A female prison guard came in with a colorful fruit platter. The other female prisoners were so jealous that they could die. She even had fruit to eat. What kind of treatment was this? When two female prisoners passed by, they glanced at her and began to gossip. Do you know who's locked up in this room? Why is she treated so well? Not only does she have 4 dishes and 1 soup, but she also has fruit. Why is she so special? Chapter 1604. Who knows? I heard she has a powerful background. Anyway, the warden comes to see her every day. But I heard she's a murderer. I don't know who she is. It's strange. I've seen her once. She's pretty and young. What a pity. Thank you. Huamin took the fruit platter and put it on the table. She made the bed neatly behind her. She didn't feel like she was in a prison. She just felt like she was no different from the outside world, except that her movements were restricted. She ate well and slept well. She picked up a piece of kiwi and took a bite. Her stomach felt uncomfortable again. What's wrong? Where do you feel uncomfortable? The female prison guard asked with concern. I'm fine. Maybe it's a stomach flu. I'll go get the doctor. Huamin immediately grabbed the female prison guard's hand. No, it's okay. I'm really fine. At this moment, the female prison guard lowered her voice and said, Don't be afraid. I think you'll be fine. You'll be out soon. The warden comes to see you every day. I know you have a powerful background. Actually, I'm not. Huamin didn't know how to explain. She really wasn't the daughter of a high-ranking official, nor was she a high-ranking official. She didn't need these people to look at her as if she was an alien. You don't have to say it. I understand. Anyways, I'll take good care of you. If you need anything, just tell me. Thank you. You're welcome. You eat first. I'll go check around. Then, the female prison guard stood up and left. Huamin, however, didn't have the appetite to eat the fruit anymore. She kept thinking about how Qin Chu was doing. Was he in a hurry? In a dark motel on the outskirts of Sea City, Lu Yan changed into a black suit and high-heeled leather boots. She looked valiant. She pulled the dagger out of her boots, checked it, and put it back. Boss, are we really going to rescue him tonight? Yeah. But, speak. But I just checked the almanac. It says it's not a good day to break into the prison. The brawny subordinate looked wronged. Lu Yan looked up and pinched his ear. The almanac says it's not a good day to kill. Do you believe that I can kill you right now? Boss, don't be like this. What I mean is that young Master Qiao has already sent us a message asking you to return to Russia as soon as possible. When have I ever listened to Psycho Qiao? Lu Yan rolled her eyes at him. But young Master Qiao is very scary. I think it's better if we don't go against him too much. Cut the crap. After we rescue them tonight, we'll go back to Australia. After an hour, I'll drink red wine with my sister on a private jet tens of thousands of meters high in the sky. Lu Yan seemed to be in a good mood. At this moment, the door opened and another subordinate walked in. Boss, everything has been arranged. After we blow up the prison, the rescue helicopter will arrive in a minute. Then, we will fly directly into the open sea. They won't be able to catch up with us in time. Very good, let's go. Lu Yan was in high spirits. She was going to blow up the prison tonight to save Huamin. However, she did not expect to be surrounded by people the moment she stepped out of the door before she could even get into the car. Dozens of submachine guns were pointed at her head. A black Porsche was parked in front of the building. The man who got out of the car had a devilishly handsome face under the moonlight. He was wearing a Russian military uniform and had a head of silver hair. He looked mysterious and cold. Young Master Qiao. Lu Yan's subordinates were all dumbfounded. Come with me. He took Lu Yan's hand and walked away, his voice extremely melodious. Psycho Qiao, let go of me. I really can't go back with you. I have to rescue him. Chapter 1605. You have to come with me, the man said firmly. I'm telling you, if anything happens to my sister, I'll kill you. Before Lu Yan could finish, the man replied coldly, Don't worry, your sister will be fine. Even if you don't come, many people will save her. You should be worried about yourself. You can't even save yourself, why are you still worried about others? I've been living a life of being hunted down for years. I'm used to it. What's there to worry about? Lu Yan didn't care. Since you're so good at gathering information, do you know that Ian came to see City? What? Lu Yan looked at Xiao Fei with wide eyes. It seems like you really don't know. When did he come? His plane will land in 3 hours. Are you sure you don't want to run now? Lu Yan, who had promised to save Hua Mian, was completely dumbfounded. She knew very well who Ian was and how scary he was. He was the demon that her father was very wary of. Psycho Qiao, is your information accurate? Are you sure Ian is coming? The man glanced at her and said, Why don't you stay and have afternoon tea with him in 3 hours? Fuck, are you kidding me? Forget it, I'll go with you. I heard the scenery in Russia is very beautiful at this time of the year. You don't want to leave your sister. Xiao Fei looked at Lu Yan with disdain. Actually, my sister is very popular with men. Even if I don't do anything, many people will save her. For example, the Rick family, the Su family's young master, and that psycho Huo won't let her die. There are many opportunities to see my sister, so I'm not in a hurry. Lu Yan immediately smiled guiltily. The man seemed to have seen through her thoughts. You're afraid that Ian will find out about your relationship with Huamin, and you'll never have a peaceful life again. After all, you've had enough of these days. You don't want your sister to have to live like this. Can you not be so smart? Boring. So, if you keep talking nonsense, I won't be able to save you when Ian lands. Then, the man shook off her hand and got into the car. Lu Yan's attitude immediately changed. She followed the man into the car and secretly left Sea City. Hua family mansion, boss, she left. So fast. Yes, someone is here to pick her up. Are you from Russia? Hua Xiqian smiled. Yes. Hee hee. No wonder someone treats her so well. What should we do now? Send a message to the other side. Tell them that they have already escaped and don't need to come. Will Godfather get angry? That's not something I should be concerned about. I'm not his subordinate. I'm only responsible for providing information, not helping him, Hua Xiqian said as he played with the 2 shiny walnuts in his hands. Lu Yan came to see City in a hurry, but the news was leaked and she was hunted down. They chased him from a 5-star hotel to a small hotel in the suburbs. If it weren't for Xiao Fei's sudden appearance, she might have really broken out of the prison tonight. At that time, who knows what would happen? It was said that plans couldn't keep up with changes, but who knew that Ian and Huamian were so terrifying that even an explosive like Lu Yan had to be afraid of them. In the end, these international forces left one after another. Sea City returned to its usual tranquility. That night, at the Su family mansion, Mr. Su and Lord Su rushed back from Jing City to deal with Su Yu's assault. Lord Su, on the other hand, was quite calm. He didn't think that his grandson's fight was a big deal. Mr. Su felt like he had lost all face. Mrs. Su called Su Yu and asked him to come back. When he came back, everyone was there. What's going on? Are they going to impeach me? Su Yu walked over to the sofa and sat down. Chapter 1606. Mr. Su immediately reprimanded him, "Stand up and talk to me." Su Yu stood up reluctantly. "Su Yu, how old are you? Are you a child? Do you know that you're almost 30 years old? It was Su Yu's father who said this. When he scolded Su Yu, he also looked very angry. There's a reason, Su Yu only replied with 4 words. What made you crazy enough to hit someone in front of so many media outlets? And the person you hit is a big shot? Mr. Su questioned. It's a long story. Bastard. How dare you play 4-word idioms with me? Mr. Su was so angry that smoke was about to come out of his mouth. He said a lot, but his son only replied with 4 words. Dad, don't be angry. After Su Yu said these 4 words, Master Lord Su couldn't help but laugh. Dad, you're still laughing. Look at this bastard, how much have you spoiled him? Mr. Su looked at Master Su speechlessly. This kid. He wasn't even so knowledgeable when he was in the army, and now he's playing with ancient poems. Master Lord Su looked at his grandson and smiled. Look at what the newspaper said. They said that you hit the president of the whole corporation because you were jealous. They said that both of you were fighting over a recently popular female celebrity. Is that true? They're making groundless accusations and distorting the truth. You're still playing 4-word idioms with me. Master Lord Su roared. This time, it's 8 words, Dad. Su Yu looked calm. Mr. Lord Su was about to get up and get angry when Master Su reached out to stop him. You. Grandpa is asking you, why did you hit someone? I don't like him. This time, it was also 4 words, but it wasn't an idiom. You. You can't be so willful. Your words and actions represent the entire Su family. Grandpa. I'll take responsibility for my own problems. If they want to lock me up, they can do whatever they want. I'm really not afraid. Bullshit. If they lock you up, it's like slapping my face. How can I not feel bad for my own grandson? I'm not blaming you. I just want to tell you that as a public figure, you can't be so impulsive. I know, Grandpa. I just think, men shouldn't argue when they can fight. It's a waste of time. You still have the nerve to say that. Su Yu's father pointed at him angrily and scolded. Son, apologize to your father and admit your mistake, Mrs. Su said gently. I didn't hit my dad. Why should I apologize? Why should I admit my mistake? Su Yu said innocently. Mr. Su was speechless. Lord Su was speechless. Mrs. Su was speechless. Su Yu. I'm telling you, this isn't over yet. Once I'm done with this, you'll scram to Jingdu. You're not allowed to run this stupid entertainment company anymore. Learn how to manage a bank and take over the family business. I'm sorry. President Su, I'm not interested. After speaking, Su Yu got up and walked upstairs to his bedroom. Dad, look at this bastard, what kind of attitude is that? Mr. Su was so angry that he was about to have a heart attack. Su Yu, on the other hand, didn't listen to anything they said. It was as if the family meeting didn't happen at all. He's grown up and has his own thoughts. We can't pressure him too much. After all was said and done, Lord Su was still biased toward his grandson. The next morning, the news that Huamin was going to be executed in 3 days spread all over the country. At 6 in the morning, all the major media outlets were fighting to report on the news. Jiang Xiaowei asked Wei Liao to call Su Yu early in the morning. Then, she asked Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, and Ji Xin to discuss countermeasures. In the end, Gao Ran told them that Rick was going to break Huamin out of prison. Jiang Xiaowei was very worried. She had a feeling that Hu Xiqian was going to do something. Su Yu didn't say much. Lord Su, say something. Don't keep quiet, we're all worried sick. Tang Chuan was also worried and asked, Chapter 1607. I have nothing to say. It's already like this. You guys chat, I'll leave first. With that, Su got up and left. Lord Su is acting weird today. Tang Chuan said. Is he planning to give up on Mian? Zhu Lingling asked with a pout. No, I know him better. He must be desperate to save Huamin. That night, Su drove back to the Su family mansion for dinner after work. At the dinner table, Suyu's father was still nagging about what happened yesterday, and Su didn't refute. Mrs. Su kept putting food into her son's bowl. Son, eat more. You, play a game of chess with Grandpa after dinner. Okay, Su agreed, which was rare for him. Inside the Su family mansion, Suyut set up the chessboard and shouted, Grandpa, we can start now. The old man came over to take a look and was slightly surprised. What kind of game are you playing? He was checkmated as soon as he started. Was his grandson setting up a game for him to solve? Just as Lord Su thought of this, he saw Suyu kneel down in front of him. You, what are you doing? Grandpa, please save Huamin. Who's Huamin? Lord Su had obviously forgotten about this. She's the female suspect in the murder case of 327. Nonsense. I told you, this is impossible. Our Su family can't interfere, and we can't interfere. Grandpa. I beg you. I haven't begged you for anything all these years, this. Suyu gritted his teeth, his eyes red. I really can't do this. You've been messing around all these years, and I've turned a blind eye to it. But this is too big and will involve a lot of things. I'm old, and I really don't want my reputation to be ruined. Master Lord Su's attitude was firm. He turned around and sat in front of the chess table. You're giving me a hard time. General, sigh. Master Lord Su looked at the chess game and sighed. 3 seconds of silence. Siyut silently raised his right hand. A black pistol had appeared in his hand out of nowhere. You, what are you doing? Master Lord Su's expression changed drastically. Grandfather. If you don't agree, then I can only die in front of you. Bastard, you dare to threaten me. The old general had joined the army at a young age and had worked hard in the army all his life. He had seen all kinds of storms. But now, seeing his grandson pointing a gun at him and threatening him with suicide, Lord Su's heart was trembling. He knew that Suyu was not a child who liked to scare people. Once he said something, he really dared to do it. That was why he was really scared. Grandfather, 3 seconds, I'll count to 3, think about it. You can scold me 1,000 times or 10,000 times, but I can't watch her die, Suyu. Master Lord Su gritted his teeth in anger. 1, 2, when it was almost 3, Suyu's finger gently pulled the trigger. Stop, I agree. In the end, Master Lord Su lost in this 3-second confrontation. Suyu finally let out a sigh of relief. Although he knew that his grandfather would definitely agree, it took courage to really pick up a gun and point it at his own head. You brat, you're fucking useless. Don't say that you're my grandson in the future. Master Lord Su was flustered and exasperated. He nodded Suyu's head and walked out of the chess room. Before chess, Master Lord Su lost first, inside a prison in Sea City, Huamin. Here. Come with me, I'll take you somewhere. Are you going to execute me? Huamin asked faintly. No, we're going to change places. Things have changed. Anyways, you can leave now. The prison guard didn't say much and took Huamin out of the prison in the middle of the night. They secretly escorted him out of the prison in a car. When Mayor Song found out about this, he was so angry that he smashed a tea set worth millions of yuan. Mayor, there's nothing we can do about this. The military is involved. What right does the military have to interfere with our local affairs? Mayor Song was furious. Jing City called. The famous military doctor, Professor Luo, said that Huamin is her only disciple and that he has a military rank. Since he has a military rank, he'll be sent to the military for trial. It's not our business anymore, the bureau chief explained to Mayor Song anxiously. Where's that woman right now? She was taken away by the military. Bang! Mayor Song was so angry that he smashed his phone. Well, family mansion, boss, there's news from the prison. Miss Hua was just taken away. Who took her away? This time, even Hua Xiqian was shocked. Chapter 1608. The military. The military. Hua Xiqian was slightly surprised at first. Then, he immediately realized who it was. He narrowed his eyes and said in a serious tone, the military actually dared to intervene. It seems like Suyu put in a lot of effort. Although he knew that Suyu had a lot of power and influence, the matter of Mayor Song's daughter wasn't that simple. Previously, the military hadn't intervened, so Hua Xiqian thought that Suyu's grandfather wouldn't help. He didn't expect that at such a critical moment, he would make a move. Two things could be seen from this. First, Suyu truly loved Huamin. Second, old Master Su really loved his grandson. That was why he ignored the rumors and his reputation in the military and forcefully intervened in this matter. One had to know that once the Su family got involved in this matter, it would be equivalent to severing ties with the local government. That would be really interesting between them and Mayor Song. For Huamin, Suyu was going all out. Boss, what should we do now? Should we stop the military's car and snatch her? Hua Xiqian glanced at his subordinate. Are you fucking crazy? Snatch her from the military? How many brains do you have? I just want to help the boss get Miss Hua back. About this. I'll think about it later. You guys can leave. Yes, sir. After his subordinate left, Hua Xiqian's face darkened. Previously, he wanted to kill Qin Chu in prison, but that girl Mian ruined it. Now, he wanted to switch Mian and go to the island when the death penalty came. Now, it was ruined by Suyu. Hua Xiqian's plan had always been flawless. However, it was all messed up by a sudden accident. It seemed like he had to replan everything again. Suyu was impulsive and didn't think too much about the cause and effect of his actions. Therefore, this kind of person was often the most difficult to deal with. Huamin, on the other hand, was quick-witted. He did it on purpose so that Hua Xiqian couldn't do anything. This is really enough. Hua Xiqian snapped the cigarette between his fingers. His eyes were dark and gloomy. Seductive Foxrick walked into the secret room in a black overcoat. Let me tell you two things. Qin Chu raised his head and slowly looked at Rick. First of all, Mian is out of danger. You don't have to worry. How did you get out of danger? Qin Chu was overjoyed. The military is involved. It's Su Yu's family. Where is she? Where are you now? Qin Chu's eyes flashed. He was very happy. Right now, we don't know where he is. The military is too secretive. But apparently, they will escort Huamin to the military court in Jingdu. It's just a formality, and then we'll talk about the rest. But you just need to know that as long as he's in the hands of the military, nothing will happen to Huamin. Emisham, I know. Qin Chu finally let out a sigh of relief. Your family is in the States. Your uncle called me. I've already talked to him. I'll take you to the plane in a bit. You have to leave today. I'm not leaving. You have to leave. When Huamin comes back, I'll send him to you. Then, before Chin Chu could protest, Rick waved his hand. His subordinates immediately escorted Chin Chu away. My brother sent a private jet to pick you up in international waters. I'll take you there. Don't worry, get some good sleep. I believe that in a few days, you'll be able to see Huamin in the States. GK has already begun to take over. Your uncle said that the GK headquarters will take over. Don't worry. Rick, I'm taking Mion with me. Chapter 1609. Not yet. We're not sure how long it'll take for Huamian to complete the process. Everyone wants you to go first. Hua Xiqian's been too quiet lately, so quiet that it's scary. I don't trust him. I'm afraid he'll do something despicable again. You know what? Even Lu Yan was taken away by force. Hua Xiqian's 6 years of absence. It's not that simple. From now on, we don't have to underestimate him. Even Lu Yan isn't afraid of him. When Rick said this, he was extremely serious. Who was Lu Yan? She was Huamin's biological sister, the most wanted criminal in the world. She was one of the best mercenaries and was used to a hail of bullets since she was young. She always lived a life of being hunted and being hunted. She once caused a huge explosion and killed the leader of a villain in the Middle East. She became famous in the mercenary world after that. It was said that the jobs she took were at least 100 million yuan. She didn't take small jobs at all. The last time she secretly came to Sea City and blew up an underground money house, it was said that she got 150 million yuan. Hua Xiqian wasn't afraid of such a powerful girl. It was obvious that he knew about Lu Yan's background. He was also confident that she wouldn't kill him, therefore, Rick didn't think such a person was easy to deal with, so he wouldn't let Chin Chu stay in the city. He had to go to the States first. Everything else could wait. Rick. Chin Chu seemed like he wanted to say something. Bro. Have a safe trip. After things calm down, I'll go to the States to find you. Also, when you see my brother, remember to say hi. Rick, who was usually cold and calm, actually smiled. He could finally help Huamin for once and let Chin Chu leave safely first. Hua Xiqian wouldn't have expected Chin Chu to leave in such a special way. Rick sent him to the international waters in a helicopter, and then someone came to pick him up. The whole process took place in mid-air. This way, it wouldn't be easy for someone to destroy it. Rick personally sent Chin Chu to the helicopter and then went to the international waters with him. Late at night, a huge black plane was hovering there, and the timing was just right. After confirming that it was his brother's men, Rick transferred Chin Chu safely. Then, he waved goodbye to Chin Chu. Huamin was secretly escorted onto the plane, blindfolded. She didn't know where she was going, but she knew that she was safe. If she stayed in prison, she would be executed in 3 days. It would be best for her to leave now. It was only at a secret organization that Huamin opened his eyes. The moment he saw that person, he was stunned. Huamin, do you still recognize me? The old man smiled slightly. Professor Luo. She was no stranger to this person. He was the most famous doctor in the military region that Su Yu had invited from Jingdu when Chin Chu was shot. Later, Professor Luo liked Huamin's talent and personally called her to come to Jingdu to take her as his disciple. Huamin politely refused and never contacted him again. It had been a long time since the incident. It was a big surprise to see Professor Luo again. Very good, you still remember this old man. Professor, what's going on? What happened to you? Huamin looked surprised. Professor Luo glanced at Huamin and smiled kindly. I was asked by Commander Su. Su Yu's grandfather. Min couldn't believe it. He really couldn't believe that such a big shot would personally take action for his own matter. Chapter 16:10. Yeah. I heard that the commander's grandson is a good friend of yours. Yeah. Min nodded. That kid. He's been running around for you. He really pushed the old commander to the brink. But I can tell that he's a righteous person. Then, Professor, am I fine now? Min looked at Professor Luo in disbelief. Yes. You'll be fine now that you're in our hands. Listen carefully, here's how we're going to save you. I'll announce to the public that you're my only disciple and that you've joined the military with a military rank. The commander has already arranged everything for you. You're now a second-class sergeant on the military medical staff, so no matter what you do, you'll have to go through the military court. But this time, your case is quite serious. You're a murderer, so we can't let you go too openly. You'll stay in Jing City for a few days, and we'll give you a physical checkup. Then, we'll find a loophole and say that you're not feeling well and need medical parole. Once the higher-ups approve it, you can leave here and rest abroad. Min didn't think that such a serious case like this would be so simple for the military. Professor Luo seemed to know what Min was thinking, so he asked, "Are you wondering why the military saved you so easily?" Yeah. Min nodded honestly. Little girl, let me tell you, this isn't simple at all. Anyone with a brain knows what's going on. To put it bluntly, it doesn't matter how you get out. What's important is who's protecting you. I've known the commander for so many years, and he's always been open and honest. He's never done anything for personal gain. Even when his grandson was in the military, he didn't make an exception to take care of him or promote him. But this time, he put in so much effort for you. This can only mean one thing. What is it? Min looked at Professor Luo in confusion. Su Yu, he successfully threatened his grandfather, Professor Luo said word by word. Min didn't feel good after hearing this. How did Su Yu convince his grandfather about such a big matter? Professor Luo joked, if you weren't married, would have thought that you would become the granddaughter-in-law of the Su family. This treatment. Min blushed. Professor, don't joke around. The Su family is a powerful family. I'm not that lucky. After all, Professor Luo was an elder. She was not used to such jokes. Okay, since you're clear, you can stay here with peace of mind. You'll have to stay here for the next few days. After the physical examination, we'll come up with a plan and apply for medical parole for you. Okay, thank you, Professor. You don't have to thank me. You should thank the commander and Su Yu. After Professor Luo finished speaking, he stood up and left with a smile. Min was sent to a clean and tidy room, which was comparable to a 5-star hotel. The environment was very good. Compared to the prison, it was like heaven and earth. She didn't ask Professor Luo where she was, but since she saw Professor Luo, she guessed that she was in Jing City. Min thought about what Professor Luo said and fell into deep thought again. At the same time, she wondered if Rick had left with Qin Chu. Would Hua Xiqin stop him? Would Qin Chu be in danger? Anyways, it was another sleepless night. 4:15 a.m. Rick was awakened by his phone ringing. He looked at the caller ID and immediately woke up. He quickly picked up the phone. Bro, what's up? Rick, the other side of the phone was silent for 5 seconds. Then, he heard Lino say in perfect English, the plane crashed 5 minutes ago in the Pacific Ocean. What did you say? Rick felt like he was struck by lightning and couldn't move. Chapter 16:11. The plane crashed. I'm not sure what caused it, but there are only two possibilities. One is that an enemy spy planted a bomb on the plane, and the other is that the plane was attacked. What about Chin-Chu? Rick felt like his heart was about to stop. The plane exploded and burned into pieces. The 4 bodyguards, 1 captain, and 2 flight attendants I sent on the plane, all died. As for Chin-Chu, his whereabouts are unknown. His phone fell to the ground with a thud. Rick was completely dumbfounded. Rick, are you still there? I've already asked the nearest country for help. I'm sure we'll have news soon. Rick. No matter what Reno said, there was no response from Rick. Rick only felt as if something in his heart had cracked open and was spreading. The plane exploded tens of thousands of meters in the air. Even if someone was lucky enough to survive, the sky was so dark. Below them was the deep waters of the Pacific Ocean. How could anyone survive? Rick knew that even though his brother didn't say that Chin-Chu was dead, there was a high chance that he was killed. Grief, sadness, self-blame, shock, all kinds of complicated emotions flooded his mind. Rick hugged his head with both hands and collapsed on the bed. He felt like he was going to faint. Suddenly, he couldn't think. If he didn't force Chin-Chu onto the plane, nothing would have happened. If he didn't arrange everything on his own, the plane wouldn't have crashed. At that moment, there was only one thought in Rick's mind: I killed Chin-Chu. Miss Cece. Is Rick here? Boss is inside, but... Rick's subordinate wanted to say something but stopped. What's wrong? Cece looked worried. Boss is in a bad mood. He's been cooped up in there for the whole day. When Cece came, Rick had been sitting there with his head in his hands for 7 hours. Rick, why didn't you pick up my calls? Cece's voice was gentler than ever. Rick lowered his head and didn't say anything. He looked very depressed. What's wrong? What happened? Cece walked over and held Rick's hand. He slowly looked up. Cece. Chin-Chu, he's dead. What kind of joke is this? Cece was shocked. I'm not joking, it's all my fault. The plane crashed. Chin-Chu is dead. Rick's voice was hoarse, and his eyes were bloodshot. How did this happen? It must be Hua Xichen, that bastard. I'm going to kill him. Rick's eyes filled with murderous intent as he spoke. Cece was heartbroken to see him like this. She hugged Rick's neck. Cece, what? How am I going to explain this to Hua Mion's dead? What am I going to say when she's back? Tears welled up in Rick's eyes. Cece's tears fell as well. Rick, this was an accident. No one wanted this to happen. Although the plane crashed, maybe Chin-Chu is still alive. Cece's CCM's eyes after all. Chin, what should I do? How am I going to explain this to Hua Min? Just then, Rick's phone rang. Cece glanced at it and then looked at him. It's Gao Ran. Rick slowly picked up the phone. Hi, Rick. Yeah. Is Chin-Chu in the States? Why can't I reach his number? Chapter 16:12. Gao Ran, can you help me call everyone over? I have something to tell you. What is it? I'll see you at Seductive Fox in half an hour. Then, Rick hung up the phone. Are you going to tell them? Cece also thought that the truth was too cruel for everyone. Yeah. Rick nodded. He forced himself to stand up. After all, he was the young master of a mafia family. Although Rick was sad, he still pulled himself together. He wanted to tell everyone about this. Otherwise, they would be worried if they couldn't contact Chin-Chu. Half an hour later, Wei Liao, Jiang Xiaowei, Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, Chen Jia, Ni Yang, Ji Xin, Huamin's family and friends were all present. Rick pushed open the door to the private room and walked in wearing a black cashmere coat. He looked extremely haggard. As soon as Jiang Xiaowei saw Rick, she knew that something bad was going to happen. "Rick, do you have something to announce?" Gao Ran asked. Rick nodded slightly, then, he looked around at everyone and said, "I received news that Huamin was released on bail." We already knew that. Don't forget that I'm in the city bureau. Although I'm only the captain of a small criminal police team, I'm pretty well informed. Last night, the military intervened and Huamin was transferred to Jing City by Professor Luo. I knew right away that it was Old Master Su's order. I have to commend Lord Su for this. Hey, where's Suyu? Then, Gao Ran realized that Suyu wasn't here. He was grounded by Lord Su. I think he was punished, Wei Liao said. I really need to thank Suyu for this. Thank goodness he's here. When he comes out, I'm going to treat him to a big meal to thank him for saving Mian. Zhu Lingling seemed to be in a good mood. Everyone was still immersed in the news that Huamin was safe. I'm guessing that Huamin will come back safe and sound in less than a week. If he's released on parole, he'll probably have to go abroad. Rick already sent Qin Chu to the States. When Huamin comes back, we'll have dinner with her and she'll have to go to the States with us. It'll be hard for us to see the couple again, right? Gao Ran looked at everyone with a smile and then looked at Rick. Rick. Is Qin Chu in America now? We can't get in touch with him, Jiang Xiaowei asked nervously. Rick's face darkened. He swept his gaze across everyone's faces and said quietly, Qin Chu, he's dead. What? Are you kidding me? Rick, don't try to scare us, it's not funny. Everyone had the same reaction, they all looked at Rick with strange expressions. I'm not kidding, I never joke. I sent Qin Chu to international waters last night and saw him get on the private plane that my brother arranged for him. He was supposed to arrive in Los Angeles safely today, but, last night, when the plane was flying over the Pacific Ocean, there was an accident. I'm not sure if it was an external attack or if someone planted a bomb on the plane. Either way, the plane exploded and crashed. The 4 bodyguards, 1 airport attendant, and 2 flight attendants that my brother arranged for were all killed. Qin Chu's whereabouts are unknown, but under those circumstances, he's probably dead. That's why I called you guys here today to tell you that Qin Chu is dead. After Rick finished his speech, the entire room fell silent. Nonsense, I don't believe that my brother-in-law is dead. Ji Xin was the first to jump up and point at Rick. Chapter 16:13. Rick glanced at him calmly. I don't want to either, but it's the truth. How is that possible? How? Oh my God. Zhu Lingling burst into tears as soon as she said this. She couldn't stop her tears from bursting out. Jiang Xiaowei also sat there blankly with a pale face. Her eyes gradually became moist. Wei Liao was sad as well, but he still had to take care of the pregnant Jiang Xiaowei. What if Sister Mian finds out? What should we do? Ni Yang sat there in a daze, his hands tightly clenched. Chen Jia held on to Ni Yang's arm and silently cried as well. Fuck, it must be Hua Xiqian. I'm going to fight him to the death. Gao Ran finally understood why Suyu would beat up Hua Xiqian without a care in the world in front of so many people. That scumbag really had no bottom line. Not only did he scheme against Huamin, but he also wanted to kill Qin Chu. So, Gao Ran was really pissed off this time. He pulled out his gun and walked out. He cried as he walked. Such a grown man, such a pure man, would actually cry in public one day. Rick blocked his way. What you're doing won't help. That's my first reaction when I found out. But you have to know that we won't be able to kill Hua Xiqian if we act rashly. Plus, people will talk about it. We have to get revenge. Qin Chu is my brother too. If you're willing, I think we can work together and take him down. What do you think? After hearing Rick's words, Gao Ran calmed down a lot. The problem now is, what should we tell Mian when she comes back? Jiang Shaowei asked. She was a very calm and logical person, and her IQ was not much lower than Huomin's. She was the smartest and calmest person here. After Jiang Shaowei raised her question, everyone fell silent once again. I don't want to say it. If you want to say it, you can say it. I really can't say it. Zhu Lingling burst into tears. Me neither. Jiang Shaowei turned her head away. She couldn't be such a cruel person. Jixin's face was full of anger. All he wanted was revenge. His heart ached even more at the thought of his sister having to face the truth of his brother-in-law's death. Ni Yang raised his head and interrupted, I was thinking, didn't you say that President Qin's whereabouts were unknown? At this time, no news was good news. Perhaps the fact that they couldn't find the body meant that he was still alive. Am I right? I think we shouldn't be too pessimistic. In that situation, the survival rate is very low. Kid, life isn't like watching movies or TV shows. There's no such thing as luck, understand? Wei Liao looked at Ni Yang and cruelly exposed the truth. Then, everyone fell silent. Rick suppressed his grief and said, as for Huomin, I will personally apologize to her. This is all my fault. If I didn't insist on forcing Qin Chu onto the plane, he wouldn't have gotten into this accident. Gao Ran patted Rick's shoulder and said, don't think that way. You're Qin Chu's best friend, and I'm sure you're doing this for his own good. Now that something has happened, I'm sure you're feeling terrible. We can't put all the blame on you. That's not fair to you. Ever since Qin Chu and Huomian's accident, we've been trying to figure out a way to save them. We can't afford to have internal strife right now. So, Rick, don't blame yourself and don't feel too guilty. Although Qin Chu's chances of survival are slim, I still believe that he's still alive. Gao Ran's words made everyone cry again. Zhu Lingling cried even harder. Chapter 1614. They're still searching, but it's in the Pacific Ocean. It's too difficult. If they don't find anything in 3 days, they'll give up. By then, Qin Chu's death might be confirmed. Huomin might come back anytime soon. I'll tell her about this. Also, please stay alert. Hua Xiqian is the devil, he won't stop just because Qin Chu is dead. Don't forget, his target is Huomin. Jiang Shaowei looked up. I agree with Rick, we can't relax. Hua Xiqian will definitely do something to Huomian. We need to think about our next step. What's going to happen to GK? Gao Ran asked. As far as I know, Qin Chu's uncle took over the company and it's now under the management of the U.S. headquarters. Does the Qin family know about Qin Chu's death? Gao Ran asked again. They don't know yet, I'll ask my brother to contact Qin Chu's family in the U.S. After Rick said this, everyone fell silent again. When they walked out of Seductive Fox, everyone looked sad. Jixin didn't cry much, but his expression didn't look right. Jixin, don't go back to Sky Blessing Court, it's not safe there. Why don't you stay at my place? Jiang Shaowei offered. It's okay, sister slightly, I'm just an insignificant person. That scumbag Hua Xiqian won't do anything to me. Jixin, come to my place, I have space there too. Zhu Lingling held on to Jixin's arm. It's really okay, Sister Lingling, I'm not a kid anymore. I'll stay at home and wait for my sister to come back safely. Then, Jishin lowered his head and said in a hoarse voice, "My mom doesn't know that something happened to my sister, and she doesn't know that my brother-in-law. Okay, let's all go home. We'll keep in touch if anything happens. Remember to be careful. I'll keep an eye on Huamin's movements in Jing City." "Oh right, Wei Liao, if you have time, go ask Lord Su about the military." "Okay, I'll call him later." Wei Liao nodded. After they got into the Mercedes-Benz RV, Jiang Xiaowei felt a bit uneasy. "What's wrong?" Honey, get someone to keep an eye on Jishin. If he does anything strange, knock him out immediately and send him to our place." "What? Do you suspect him?" "Yeah, I think that kid will do something stupid. Now that Mian isn't here and Qin Chu's whereabouts are unknown, I can't let anything happen to Jishin. Otherwise, I won't be able to explain myself to Mian." "Okay, I'll get someone to keep an eye on him." After Wei Liao and Jiang Xiaowei got home, they were about to have dinner. Wei Liao received a phone call, then, he looked at Jiang Xiaowei with admiration. "Honey, you guessed it right." "What? Did Jishin do it?" "Yeah, that dumb kid. He took a fruit knife, changed his clothes, and left the house. He's going to the Huasiqian mansion to get revenge. That dumb kid. Do you think Huasiqian is that easy to deal with?" "Yeah, good thing you reminded me, or else I'd be in trouble. If Huasiqian caught him, he'd be charged with trespassing and assault with a knife. If he was convicted, he'd be in jail for at least 7 years. Wei Liao was very grateful for his wife's quick wits. "Where is he now?" "My people knocked him out, tied him up, and sent him to our place." "Okay, put him under house arrest for now. We'll talk about it when Mian comes back," Jiang Xiaowei instructed. "Okay. Honey, what happened to Lord Su? Did something happen to him because he tried to save Mian?" "Ever since Mian escaped danger, Su hadn't done anything." Jiang Xiaowei felt like something was wrong. "Lord Su, he..." Wei Liao wanted to say something but stopped. Obviously, he didn't want to say it. "What happened to Lord Su?" Jiang Xiaowei was so anxious that she pinched Wei Liao's arm. So many things had happened recently, and she couldn't bear to hear bad news from her friends. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.